What's going on, everybody? Thank you for being. I think we're a little loud here on the.
I feel like we're loud. It sounds like we're loud.
Yeah, a little. Yeah, okay. I think that's maybe a little bit better. I think a little bit better.
I felt that speaker bust in my ear, man.
Maybe I have to adjust these vocals just a little bit.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know if we sound like we're screaming.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's because this is all right. We'll see. All right, what's up, everybody? LTMB live coming at you. This is Thursday. I was gonna say Tuesday.
Yo,
had some problems on Tuesday.
Well, we didn't have problems.
No, we didn't have any problems. We was on time.
YouTube had problems, and they didn't feel the need to let anyone know.
Didn't let anybody know not even after the fact. I didn't see any.
Not on their Twitter page.
Hey, sorry, YouTube creators out there. Sorry, we didn't let you know that.
You wouldn't be able to stream today.
Yeah, sorry about that. Nah, no acknowledgement of anything.
Had some servers down or streaming service down or
nothing.
Nothing.
Huh.
Absolutely nothing. Don't sound like Ned Flanders over here.
Yeah. But anyway, we're going to try to do this tonight. Seems like we're not running into any problems with the stream on YouTube right now.
We all green.
All green.
Crossing our fingers.
So it's all good. But yeah, so we are broadcasting on YouTube and Twitch and Periscope Live. Everybody, if you're on YouTube, please hit that like button if you don't mind. We have a lot to talk about tonight, as always. Some things, I guess, we're gonna get to that we were, gonna talk about on Tuesday. Some things that I guess at the beginning we can kind of briefly talk about because I don't think we're gonna do like full stories
some sort
on
of
them.
Dive into it later.
But some breaking news, just a couple hours ago maybe or something like that.
Few breaking news items.
Yeah, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders. It has been announced that she is due to leave the administration at the end of the month. So that is going to be a very notable change for this administration. We have seen her lie for the president so many times. It's become common. It's been something that, I don't know. I won't say I look forward to, but it's like I said, it's just a commonplace. Yeah, she's leaving. She's leaving.
When someone is doing a bad job, or I don't know, can we say she's doing a bad job considering who she works for? Or is she doing a good job?
I think you can look at it either way.
You can look at it either way.
Because she's still doing a bad job because I don't think she's actually doing what she's intending, what she's seeking out to accomplish. I don't think it's actually
She's not
working.
selling it. She's not selling the lie.
Right. So but she's trying.
It's like usually when somebody is doing a horrible job, you kind of cheer when they're fired.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, she wasn't fired. She stepped down. It was planned. It was planned.
Yeah.
But when they're let go, or when they are, I guess, they are exiting from their position. In her case, she would say it's a good thing. But is it a good thing? Because she's most likely going to be replaced with somebody worse.
Probably so.
You know what I'm saying?
Probably so, man.
But I guess she fulfilled her purpose. What did she get out of it? I don't think this is one of those situations where you would put this on your resume. You know what I'm saying, man?
Well, look, if you are going to work for a Republican candidate or another Republican administration, whether it be at the federal level or not,
Maybe.
This may hold some weight.
Depending on how it goes.
Yeah.
We just gotta wait to see how it goes.
Yeah, it's up in the.
Yeah.
It's
but
up in the
I think
wind
there's
right now.
just
I don't know.
there's only so long you could be press secretary for Donald Trump.
True.
You know what I'm saying? There's only so much lying you can do.
Yeah.
I think there is a ceiling. I think she probably reached that ceiling
Yeah, she
months
maxed out.
ago.
She maxed
out months ago.
Yeah, true.
And so, it's a good move, I guess, for her, because, you lie that much, that's going to take years off of your life.
Oh, yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? So, she deserves an Oscar, though, I will say. She deserves an Oscar.
But again, it didn't work.
But
The effort deserves an Oscar. The effort.
It's like a participation Oscar.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, not the effect. You know what I'm saying? Okay. You didn't sell it, but you did give it your all and effort.
So what else? What else happened today?
In the administration as well, Kellyanne Conway. She now this is something that actually has been going on for a while. Repeated violations of the Hatch Act.
Right. Yeah, I read about
when
that.
You're speaking in your official capacity in the administration. Right. If you're a federal employee, you're not supposed to meddle in political campaign affairs and stuff like that.
So you're not supposed to play I guess some sort of campaign manager type role.
No, that's not your job. And there's an actual law that says that you're not supposed to do that. But many people have noted that she has done it many times, but nothing has happened. So today, it was the government agency. It was the U.S. Office of Special Counsel. And they said that Kellyanne Conway should be fired. Should be fired now. Yesterday. Should be fired because she does violate the Hatch Act. And she has violated it many times. The White House, though, wrote a letter back, just, I guess, trying to, I don't know what you want to call it, I guess trying to just push back on the idea that she did violate the Hatch Act. But it's all on camera. You understand? It's on camera.
At this point, it doesn't really matter with this administration. It's all about doing things out in the open and getting away with them.
Yeah.
That's kind of been the theme of this entire Trump administration. Just doing things out in the open.
Yep.
And getting away with them. They're testing the waters of autocracy right now and authoritarianism. They're testing those waters right now by just blatantly getting away with, I guess, constitutional violations out in the open.
Yeah. So I guess this is a little segue to what could be our first story today. President Donald Trump had an interview with ABC News' George Stephanopoulos, and it aired on ABC News on Wednesday. So in this interview, it's not quite so wide-ranging, but President Trump brought up the Russian investigation. He brought up the Mueller investigation a number of times. One of these times it surrounded his son, Don Jr., and how his son was it was a closed door meeting. He was going to be meeting in the Senate. And he's just trying to take up for his son. He says his son is a good young man. They're trying to take him down and this and that. We're going to show you a clip of the interview in which he does try to defend his son. And he also, I guess, undersell it by saying that he suggested that it was, I guess, normal or acceptable for somebody to take information from a foreign government about a political rival. I can't say he suggested it. He boldface stated it.
He said he pretty much thinks it's okay.
Yes.
Well, yeah, you'll hear.
You'll hear. Yeah. So here's the clip, and then we'll come back and talk.
Your son, Don Jr., is up before the Senate Intelligence Committee today. And again, he was not charged with anything. In retrospect, though,
by the way, not only wasn't he charged, if you read it, with all of the horrible fake news. I mean, I was reading that my son was going to go to jail. This is a good young man, that he was going to go to jail.
In June of 2016, just months before the election, Don Jr. received an email from a business associate promising dirt on Hillary Clinton from the Russian government. Don Jr.'s response, "If it's what you say, I love it." The conversation led to a meeting in Trump Tower that included the president's son, his son-in-law Jared Kushner, and a Russian lawyer. Don Jr. insists nothing came of it. And Special Counsel Robert Mueller concluded there was not enough evidence to charge a conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia.
And then the report comes out, and they didn't even say, they hardly even talked about it.
Should he have gone to the FBI when he got that email?
Okay, let's put yourself in a position. You're a congressman. Somebody comes up and says, hey, I have information on your opponent. Do you call the FBI? I don't think.
Coming from
I'll tell you
Russia,
what,
you do?
I've seen a lot of things over my life. I don't think in my whole life I've ever called the FBI. In my whole life. You don't call the FBI. You throw somebody out of your office. You do whatever you do.
Al Gore got a stolen briefing book. He called the FBI.
Well, that's different. A stolen briefing book. This isn't a stolen. This is somebody that said, we have information on your opponent. Oh, let me call the FBI. Give me a break. Life doesn't work that way.
The FBI director says that's what should happen.
The FBI director is wrong.
Your campaign this time around, if foreigners, if Russia, if China, if someone else offers you information on an opponent, should they accept it or should they call the FBI?
I think maybe you do both. I think you might want to listen. There's nothing wrong with listening. If somebody called from a country, Norway, we have information on your opponent. Oh, I think I'd want to hear it.
You want that kind of interference in our elections?
It's not an interference. They have information. I think I'd take it. If I thought there was something wrong, I'd go maybe to the FBI if I thought there was something wrong. But when somebody comes up with Oppo research, right? They come up with Oppo research. Oh, let's call the FBI. The FBI doesn't have enough agents to take care of it. But you go and talk honestly to congressmen. They all do it. They always have. And that's the way it is. It's called Oppo research.
Okay. Sounded like he inadvertently referenced a certain meeting. You know what I'm saying? In trying to draw a comparison between his son's situation and Gore's situation. He said that was different.
Yeah.
He said this is a case where blah, 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 blah. They offered so-and-so. And I was like, what did you just say? I was like, okay. I think, I can't remember if it was in that clip or not because I didn't hear it. But during that interview, he also said something about go talk to the congressman. Mm-hmm. He said, go ask any congressman, they do it too. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'd be interested to ask congressmen this, especially Republican ones.
Well, we have a few quotes after this interview made the news, of course, and many people were talking about it. Of course, Republican congressmen are going to have to voice their opinions about what President Trump said.
Yeah, because he pretty much threw him under the bus.
Exactly. So here's just a few quotes from some Republican congressmen. Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, Republican, said, "I think that's wrong. That's a mistake. I've been consistent on this. If a public official is approached by a foreign government offering anything of value, the right answer is no." Tom Tillis, senator from North Carolina, Republican. "If I had knowledge that it was from someone from a foreign country, my first call would be to the FBI." Upon listening to this interview, particularly this particular excerpt of this interview, it's getting to a point now where I'm not sure what to say anymore.
Yeah, because I think like we both said that.
Yeah.
Like when I sent the video to you, you were like, "What am I supposed to do with this?" You said, "What am I supposed to do with this?" I forgot what I said, but I just sent it and said no words.
Yeah.
And you were like, "What am I supposed to do with this?"
It's at that point where you say the same things over and over again, and he keeps digging a hole for himself. We've said before, if this man had just sat on his hands and didn't do anything during the whole Mueller investigation, there would have been nothing that came from the Mueller investigation. Mm-hmm. And this interview with George Stephanopoulos, correct me if I'm wrong, is he not validating the whole reasoning behind the Mueller investigation? He's validating it. He said that if he was offered information from a foreign government, that yeah, sure, I'd take a look at it. Do you understand? That's the whole reason there was an investigation in the first place.
That's why individuals that were a part of your campaign and transition team are either indicted or in jail right now, because they took up offers from foreign entities to do work for them, and that work was not disclosed. That's why they're in jail right now.
But he said that this was a hoax. He said that this was a coup.
Not only that, right? You think about how it actually undercuts his entire deflection onto the Democratic Party, because he usually when there's a press conference and the questions come up about the investigation, what does he say? He says the Democrats committed the crime.
Right.
The Democrats are the one commit the crime.
Crime was committed on the other side.
The crime was committed on the other side. Well, I mean, and the suggestion of what that crime is what? They were spying, or they're the ones who got the information. Right. It was the Steele dossier.
They set this into motion.
They set this in motion. It's the Steele dossier. And I was like, well, did you kind of just undercut that? Because now you're saying that there's nothing wrong with the Steele dossier.
That's true.
And it's actually not even the same, because that was a private contractor. That was a private contractor via an intelligence firm based in Washington, D.C. And that information went where, Will?
You mean in whose hands did it go into? Was it McCain?
McCain, and then McCain turned it into, since this interview centered on, who you turn, documents over to, or who you inform when someone makes contact with you, a foreign agent, foreign entity, foreign government. That three-letter agent, I
think it's the
FBI.
So it's the FBI.
So it's not even comparable. So whatever you think about this Steele dossier, whatever, we don't really talk about it much.
No,
we really don't talk about it. But that's where the Steele dossier went. It went to the FBI.
But he's saying that now, again, what George Stephanopoulos said about the FBI director, saying that the FBI director says that if that information is offered to you, you're supposed to turn it over to the FBI. Trump says that his quote, the FBI director is wrong. Now, this FBI director, Christopher Wray, is the one that Trump appointed. Okay?
Yeah, that's a Trump appointee.
He's a Republican. He's not some Democrat or like that you can, he's biased, he's partisan. No, this is a Trump appointee. Now, and it's also funny that, again, the Republican Party has always really tried to sell themselves as the party of law enforcement, the one that backs law enforcement. Yes, law and order president.
Trump has said this.
Trump has said this many times. But here Trump is saying that the head of the FBI got his facts wrong. If information is offered to you about a political rival in campaign season, then you shouldn't turn that over to the FBI. No, it's not a situation where the FBI government should actually take a look at that and investigate, if it's true, how deep it's going. They shouldn't investigate that whatsoever. No, Trump can make the decision, not the government, not the FBI.
Do you know why, you have to go to the FBI, or that is suggested? It's because usually you're going to have to answer that at some point in time anyway.
Yeah.
You're going to have to answer that as far as your the FEC documents, maybe not the president, but somebody in the campaign or in the transition team. They get these questions asked to them when they have to fill out their paperwork, when they have to fill out those documents to the Federal Election Committee.
Was the FBI involved in the Mueller investigation? Oh, they were. Again,
they ask you these questions like, have you ever had contact with XX individuals from so and so country? Have you ever had contact with any foreign nationals, foreign government? They ask you these questions, or have they tried to make contact with you? They ask you these questions. So the reason why you need to just go ahead and fess up and say, hey, this person came to me, or these people came to me, is because it might be asked of you in the future. This is why there was so much controversy surrounding Kushner, because he had to constantly update his paperwork because he left a lot of things out.
So again, I don't believe that Trump was intended on doing this, but he did validate the whole reasoning behind the Mueller investigation by saying that, yeah, going further, like going forward into the future, I would accept some information from a foreign government. Yeah, why not? I would like to see that information. Why not? Maybe we do both. Maybe I look at it and I inform the FBI. Maybe we do both. But I'm not a person that's ever called the FBI, so why would I start doing that now? You haven't learned the lesson then. If you want to stick with your narrative that it was a hoax, that it was a coup, that this whole investigation was improper, and you did nothing wrong here, and you didn't do anything. Nobody in your campaign even did anything to warrant such an investigation from being started. If you want to stick with that narrative, then when you're asked the question by George Stephanopoulos on whether you would take information from a foreign government going into the future, your answer needs to be no.
But look where
simply
look where he's coming from, though. Look where he's coming from. He's coming from the mindset of a businessman, right?
Yeah.
Because he feels that he can use that information for his personal gain. I guess to me, secondarily, it's going to be for political gain, but primarily, his political motives always come back to him. You see what I'm saying? That's why he's kept all of his business interests, which is a problem, which I wish people would talk more about, because he's in violation of the Emoluments Clause.
Yep.
To this day.
Yep. To
this day.
And we've talked about that.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where the problem lies, especially when you're talking about all the contacts he made during the election and the contacts he continues to maintain after the election, whether it be with Saudi Arabia, whether it be with Russia, whether it be with China. This is more about money and politics and bribery, and less about, I guess, securing our democracy from some Russian hackers. I think that should be more of the focus. This is more about bribery, money, and politics, and the president being bribed by other countries or other foreign entities or the foreign leaders. And he seems to be willing to be bribed. He doesn't care.
Yes. And, look, actually, I shouldn't even have to lead into this with saying how, our personal feelings about Senator Kamala Harris or not. This is her tweet, in which, I agree with. She tweeted out a response to Trump's words saying, China's listening, Russia's listening, North Korea's listening. Let's speak the truth. This president is a national security threat. And maybe we have a little bit of difference of, I guess, a different way of viewing how he's a threat to national security. Maybe she's just seeing it as though, they can just offer him the information, and then he will accept it. What you're saying is more like this man can be bribed. This man can be willingly bribed.
Yeah, this is just this runs in the same runs along the same lines of the stuff we talk about all the time. Yeah. I don't know why people are kind of making it into something that it's not, or they're just not making it into anything at all, as if there's no concern here. Now, if you have somebody like Kamala Harris, or let's say somebody who works at the Pentagon, or somebody who works at the Defense Department, and they say national security, obviously you kind of turn up and you're like, yeah, we know what that is. That's just protecting the interest of the United States, from a kind of an imperial perspective. But what we're talking about is a national security risk that surrounds the president being vulnerable to being manipulated and bribed by other countries and individuals from other countries, whether they're businessmen, corporations, or the leaders of those other countries, which usually those two things are tied together.
Yes, they are.
You know what I'm saying? I don't see why that's not a problem, especially when most of our show and most of people's politics, if you're on the left or progressive, surrounds trying to get money out of politics, trying to get corruption out of politics, trying to kind of I guess, focus the conversation on politicians being honest, and Trump is the damn president, so he's the top politician. So go ahead.
So that's why when you bring up the Emolument Clause, and we've talked about that, that's why that issue is so important, because it seems as though he's currently being bribed. Or you can make the case that he's currently being bribed because he's benefiting from foreign nationals, foreign leaders, and he's staying at his hotel. He has private interests.
You go ahead, man. You actually were going where I was going.
I know. I mean, like I said, we've talked about it before. He's not just acting as a president and trying to protect the the interest of the larger American good, or you just everybody in the country. No, he's acting as a businessman while he is the president of the United States of America. That's why you try to, like, if you're going to be the president and a businessman, you want to divest. You don't want to be a businessman while you're the president of the United States, because then you can be compromised. You can be bribed. And that's what it seems like he fails to do. He has always failed to do that. Everybody wants, like, his supporters say, okay, yeah, we need a businessman running the country. This is what you get when you get a businessman running the country. You get problems. You get conflict of interest.
You know, one thing else I noticed in that exchange between him and Stephanopoulos is he referred to Don Jr. as a young man.
He did.
Don Jr. is 41 years old, grown-ass man.
He's a grown man.
He has 4 or 5 kids. I don't know.
Does he? Okay.
He has, I don't know. He has kids. I know he has 3, 4, or 5. I know he has a handful of kids.
Sound like he was talking about like a
A little
18-year-old,
boy.
maybe
A little boy. So
19-year-old,
why is he
something like that.
infantilizing Don Jr.? It's almost like trying to create this perception that, oh, he's just an innocent little boy. He's an innocent little child. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is he doing that? You know what I'm saying? Just
He
seems
didn't know what he was doing.
he didn't know what he was doing.
Why
He's
you
an
picking
innocent
on
little
someone?
boy. And I'm like, nah, like, stop that. Nah. Especially when they're accused of doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Why, you know what I'm saying?
And that's the case right here. He's accused of making a decision. I mean, he made a decision to go about that meeting. His own words were, yeah. Oh, yeah, I love it. If you got that information, I love it. That was his decision. He's a big boy. He made a big boy decision. It was the wrong decision. That's it.
Yeah, I think they're just kind of opening the door much wider if we're talking about, I guess, money in politics, corruption, being bribed, being bought. They're just opening the door wider. You know, we can't say that it wasn't there before. Obviously it was.
Right.
But now it's like Trump is kind of broadened.
Yeah, we need to be more accepting of many other things. Not just domestic. We're talking about international now. All right, so let's switch gears. Senator Bernie Sanders, who is also a Democratic presidential candidate for 2020, had a speech on Wednesday, and it was about democratic socialism. So, in the news right now, socialism is a topic of conversation, and usually it is the boogeyman in the room.
Both sides.
Both sides. Doesn't matter what aisle you're on. Yes, socialism is the thing that is denounced. It is described as what America will never be. This and that. There's a lot of opinions about it, and it's really all sold with lies. Now, Bernie Sanders, socialism is attributed to him. Many other progressives, socialism is attributed to them. When they're not really pushing forth a socialism type of proposal, policies, or anything like that. It's not really like true socialism.
They're just kind of pushing, like, proposals that kind of already exist.
Yeah.
Like if you're talking about
in
like
large part,
if you're talking about like Medicare,
have existed for many years.
Like Medicare for all.
Yeah, it's an extension of Medicare.
It's an extension of Medicare.
Yeah.
Like you said before,
Yeah.
like if you're gonna if people are going to kind of demonize Medicare for all as some sort of kind of socialist agenda, then
Right.
wouldn't the Medicare we have now
Regular
be socialist?
Medicare. Yeah. Why wouldn't you demonize just regular ass Medicare? Just regular ass Medicare.
But like I didn't watch the speech live.
No, I didn't either.
I didn't watch the speech till last night.
Right.
And just based off what I was like, the response I was seeing, as far as the media, I had ideas about what was going to be in the speech before I saw the speech, before I listened to the speech. But once I listened to it, I was like, really? Is that how they characterize the speech? Because all I saw were these headlines. It says like, Bernie Sanders sells socialism to America. Like kind of these like bold, really affirmative,
Right.
like headlines, declarative headlines. Is America ready for socialism? Bernie Sanders speaks. And I was like, that's kind of reductionist,
Yeah,
especially if you listen to the whole speech. It wasn't some sort of serenade to socialism because he talked about, corporate and government corruption. He talked about fair wages. He talked about toxic ideologies that promote hate and promote division. He talked about regulation of Wall Street. You can keep going.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, but we have some clips that we want to show you about the interview before we, go on too much further. But yeah, the first opinion I had about it when I saw the speech, that was after I saw the headlines. The first thing I thought was, oh, this is a regular ass Bernie Sanders speech. If you've ever seen Bernie Sanders speak before,
I will
it's about the same thing.
It's about the same thing. What I noticed, he's becoming more precise. Obviously, he has speech writers, but he also has a clear-cut agenda. Right. So it helps his speech writers. Yeah. So it's not like having to be Trump's speechwriter or something.
No, that's not it. Yeah, so, I will say, he was very clear, and I did like how he went back into the past.
Talking about FDR.
We'll get to that, though. So we got 3 clips that we want to show you. The first clip is towards the beginning of the speech where he's, I guess, talking about the 2 different paths that, I guess the 2 different paths that there are. Democratic socialism and oligarchy. So here he is.
On one hand, there is a growing movement toward oligarchy and authoritarianism in which a small number of incredibly wealthy and powerful billionaires own and control a significant part of the economy and exert enormous influence over the political life of our country. On the other hand, in opposition to oligarchy, there is a movement of working people and young people who, in ever-increasing numbers, are fighting for justice. They are the teachers taking to the streets to make certain that schools are adequately funded and that their students get a quality education. They are workers. They are workers at Disney, Amazon, Walmart, and the fast food industry. Standing up and fighting for a living wage of at least $15 an hour and the right to have a union. They are the young people taking on the fossil fuel industry and demanding policies that transform our energy system and protect our planet from the ravages of climate change. They are women who refuse to give control of their bodies to local, state, or federal politicians. They are people of color and their allies demanding an end to systemic racism and massive racial inequities that exist throughout our society.
So, like we said, if you've ever heard a Bernie Sanders speech before, I mean, that's
right up his alley.
Yeah, that's right up his alley. That's in his wheelhouse. That he gets to all those issues. He hits all those points in pretty much every single long speech that he makes. If it's over 20 minutes, it's probably going to hit on those items right there. So nothing new here. He's not breaking any new ground. One thing that I liked is that Bernie Sanders knows when to stop for an applause. And that's in comparison to...
we'll get to that later.
We're going to get to that. But,
Swalwell?
Your boy.
My boy? I got to be my boy. Damn.
There was even a time where he didn't know the applause was coming. Then, okay. Let me stop for that applause. Okay.
Because...
Swalwell could pick up some tips.
Because Bernie's really not looking for the applause.
Not really.
The thing is, they're going to come organically anyway based on... Like that.
Don't force it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they come organically considering what he's talking about.
Right.
So he really doesn't need punchlines. And like I said at the beginning, I just don't like the reductionism that people have kind of projected onto this speech, especially when it comes to socialism. And actually, if we're talking about what he was talking about, right? You know, you hear that phrase, especially during inauguration speeches, a more perfect union. It's essentially what this speech was about. And, you know, his platform fits kind of right into that concept. It doesn't fit into the concept of a more perfect union like any other politician, but it does for me.
Yeah.
Because he talked about, you know, fossil fuels. He talked about wages, schools being funded.
Women have the autonomy over their bodies.
Exactly. So it was like I said, it was comprehensive. It wasn't just about socialism.
Right. True. Comprehensive.
Actually, yeah, it wasn't about socialism
even
at
about
all.
socialism,
It was
no.
more about a social safety net.
Right.
But it wasn't really about socialism.
So this next clip that we're going to show you, though, is about socialism. This next clip is about socialism, but it's about the boogeyman that socialism is and how many people through the course of time, through many years going back, have tried to use socialism as a way of, criticizing people and trying to get others to not vote for those said people. So here's the clip.
I do understand that I and other progressives will face massive attacks from those who attempt to use the word socialism as a slur. But I should also tell you that I have faced and overcome these attacks for decades, and I am not the only one. In 1932, Republican President Herbert Hoover claimed that Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal was, quote, a disguise for the totalitarian state, end quote. In 1936, former Democratic New York governor and Democratic presidential candidate Al Smith said in a speech about FDR's New Deal policies, quote, just get the platform of the Democratic Party and get the platform of the Socialist Party and lay them down on your dining room table side by side, end quote. When President Harry Truman proposed a national health care program, the American Medical Association hired Ronald Reagan as their pitchman. The AMA called the legislation that stemmed from Truman's proposal, quote, socialized medicine, claiming that White House staff were, quote, followers of the Moscow party line, end quote. In 1960, Ronald Reagan, in a letter to Richard Nixon, wrote the following about John F. Kennedy, quote, under the tousled boyish haircut is still old Karl Marx, end quote. In the 1990s, then Congressman Newt Gingrich claimed President Bill Clinton's health care plan was, quote, centralized bureaucratic socialism. This is a quote from Harry Truman. Socialism is what they called Social Security. Socialism is what they called farm price supports. Socialism is what they called bank deposit insurance. Socialism is what they called the growth of free and independent labor organizations. Socialism is their name for almost anything that helps all of the people, end quote, Harry Truman.
I don't recall him doing a little deep dive like that in
No,
a speech like that.
no. That again, this speech was not breaking new ground. But like you said, to just to lead off this this segment that we're doing here, he did go a lot more specific and deep in what he talks about, and taking a deep dive back into history and letting everybody know that this is not new. What they're doing to me, they have done to many people over the course of many years.
You know what else it exposes? It exposes the fearmongers, you know, for what they are. You know, because the fearmongers out there, they always want to kind of present this narrative that this is this new emerging danger.
Yes, yes.
We have to stand against it.
It's a threat.
And essentially, they are sounding just like the people Bernie was talking about, who
He
opposed
went
it
back to the 30s.
Yeah. And I think it's necessary that he did that. And it's about time he did that. You know what I'm saying? Because I think like people had a problem with him because he wasn't more forthcoming with his actual positions, most likely because I don't think he was really prepared to defend them. Honestly, I don't think he was. Even if he was talking about them for decades, he had never been in a prominent position to have to defend them and to present these proposals as a platform, like to a large body of people, to the world. So I'm referencing back to his, presidential run in 2016.
Right.
So now he has some practice.
Yeah.
And now he can kind of build upon that.
Because think about it. In 2016, he really did not do a great job in defending the assault that was put on him. This assault that was that was about socialism.
I was like, bruh, like you are like, well, I don't think he's seen as like the surrogate father to the concept of, I guess, democratic socialism. He's seen as the surrogate father right now. So I do think it's up to him to kind of lay the groundwork for the American people and explain exactly the ins and outs of like his platform, and I guess giving a historical reference, which he did in this speech. So that's something that has to happen. And didn't like Hickenlooper like come on some speech? Yeah,
Hickenlooper, the former governor of Colorado and presidential candidate, Democratic presidential candidate for 2020, he had a speech or somewhat meeting, whatever. He gave a little address or whatever where he was at. I can't remember where he was, but that was on Thursday morning. And just, I guess, went in on Bernie Sanders saying things like, that's not what we, that's not
the Democratic Party doesn't need
Medicare for all. He was railing against that. I like in Bernie Sanders' speech, again, how he did go back in history and show that this is not a new tactic. This is just a rehash tactic that has been working for many years. But also the point where he brought up former President Bill Clinton. If you can claim that former President Bill Clinton is a socialist or is embarking on trying to put forth socialist policies, Bill Clinton. Is anybody confused here in thinking that Bill Clinton was or is a progressive? Anybody? Does Bill Clinton even believe in the idea of Medicare for all? Does he believe in the same social safety net?
Yeah, I was about to say, we're talking about social safety nets.
Does he even believe in the same thing that Bernie Sanders is discussing?
I don't think anybody has ever made a comparison between those two. Never.
No. But it was Newt Gingrich that was trying to put socialism on him, and this was about healthcare. So it really is, as Bernie Sanders said, Truman said at one time, anything that is really to the benefit of all of us, and especially the disenfranchised, the people at the bottom, the middle and the bottom, really, it's all the same. We're all on the bottom. But for those people, the programs that we can implement that are going to really, shape our lives in a good way, that's socialism.
I guess Bob Dole is a socialist because Bob Dole, a Republican, him and, man, who was it? Who was the other Republican? They used to have a joint forums on healthcare. This was back in the 80s. Like Bob Dole. Oh, damn, who was the other Republican? Because I watched it on YouTube a few times. I was like, this is the 80s?
It literally is just a scare tactic. It doesn't mean anything because, one, as we have noted many times before, Bernie Sanders isn't pushing socialism. No presidential candidate is pushing socialism. So it really is just a scare tactic. It's fear-mongering. These demagogues use it to scare people. They don't really have any specifics. They can't. They don't have anything. Really, the socialist, like Canada would have to be a socialist country. Israel's a socialist country. Just think of any industrialized nation, and they're all socialist countries because they have universal health care. It's ridiculous. But anyway, so we have the third clip, and in this third clip, which one is this about? This one, yeah. Okay, so Bernie Sanders, he speaks about socialism again. Well, actually, no. He talks about, I guess, democratic. Well, actually, no. He does talk about socialism in his clip, but not in the way that you usually hear it. So he ties socialism to the wealthy class, the corporate class, the Trump class of people, elite individuals.
Oh, he was pointing fingers.
Yes, he was pointing fingers.
Pointing
and
fingers.
did a good job at it, too. So here's that clip.
While President Trump and his fellow oligarchs attack us for our support of democratic socialism, they don't really oppose all forms of socialism. They may hate democratic socialism because it benefits working people, but they absolutely love corporate socialism that enriches Trump and other billionaires. The truth is, corporate America receives hundreds of billions of dollars in federal support every single year, while these very same people are trying to cut programs that benefit ordinary Americans. If you are a fossil fuel company whose carbon emissions are destroying the planet, you get billions in government subsidies, including special tax breaks, royalty relief, funding for research and development, and numerous tax loopholes. If you are a pharmaceutical company, you make huge profits on patent rights for medicines that were developed with taxpayer-funded research. If you are a monopoly like Amazon, owned by the wealthiest person in America, you get hundreds of millions of dollars in economic incentives from taxpayers to build warehouses, and you end up paying not one penny in federal income taxes.
Boy, he just he created a little enemies list right there.
He sure did. But that's not new either.
Fossil fuel companies.
That's not new either.
Drug companies.
Amazon.
Wall Street.
Yeah. Walmart.
I do think essentially he's just talking about economic authoritarianism, where kind of wealth has kind of concentrated upwards and I wouldn't say it's calcified. It's calcified downwards, and the wealth is transferred upwards. And he kind of laid out the concept of supplementing or subsidizing wealth creation on one side, and then wealth creation completely being ignored on another side. And it's like if these corporations are being subsidized and they're giving a leg up essentially, or they're being helped by the government so that they can create wealth for themselves, massive amounts of wealth, then why can't you do the same for regular people? Why can't you kind of help regular people out? Help them get some footing within this system so that they can be successful or provide for their families. We can at least start with fair wages, and they don't even want to do that.
Exactly. I remember, and I wasn't thinking about this before, but we've been taken back to this specific example a few times. In 2016, we did a story about how there was a Fox News segment that it was about a video that was taken of this woman that was upset at a man for using food stamps. And she was railing on him, saying that I paid for that. You're just mooching off the system, things like that, right? And she was really upset that he was using his food stamps, right? This was a man that, even in the video, he said that he works full time.
He's currently employed.
Currently employed. But yes, he has assistants, right? So I think our contention was like, or the thing that we were, I guess, interested in knowing was how she felt about, I don't know, the fossil fuel industry, just a lot of different corporations that do get these subsidies that are assisted by the federal government with tax dollars. Like, how do you feel about them getting so much more money than what these safety programs, the safety net programs, are actually given out to just regular people? It pales in comparison to the millions and billions and trillions of dollars that corporations have gotten for so many years.
Didn't he mention the pharmaceutical industry benefiting from government research too?
Yes. Like this is one of the reasons, of course, why we have a problem with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. You're talking about corporations who the tax rate for corporations used to be 35%. They weren't paying that, right? Nobody was paying that. The effective rate was somewhere around 17%. But there were still corporations that were paying zero. They were getting a rebate. You have like corporations like Walmart and Amazon not paying a nickel, not paying anything. So they don't have to pay anything. In some cases, they get a rebate. And they don't have to pay their workers a fair living wage, a reasonable living wage. Also, you have places like Walmart that do not pay their workers a living wage. They instruct them to go out and seek help from the federal government, to seek help and assistance so that they can actually live and afford the food and clothes and shelter and all this.
They have pamphlets and flyers.
Yes. So think about how ridiculous it is that these corporations that are benefiting from all these subsidies and these low tax rates, think about them. And in essence, they are the same class of people that will rail against socialism. But then they're going to inform their workers to go get some socialism.
You mentioned Walmart. And I think 3 of the Waltons, they're in the top 20 as far as wealthiest individuals in the world. I'm sorry, in the United States. There's 3 Waltons in the top 20 in the United States.
Richest family in the country, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Socialism for the rich. What's for the poor? How's it go? There's a saying. I can't remember exactly how it goes, but yeah, the elite class, they are comfortable with socialism for the wealthy. For
socialize the gains, you privatize the risk. Or
exactly.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know the saying.
I mean, they're completely. That's why the boogeyman that socialism is just that. It's a boogeyman. It doesn't mean anything. It's not real. It's just a game that they're running to sell the idea that you don't need it. We need it, but you people, you regular people, no, you don't need that.
Yeah, that's how Bernie was laying it out. I mean, he was just talking about the word being used as a pejorative. Mm-hmm. I guess to target any kind of social program that would help regular people.
Right.
They don't use pejoratives or boogeyman terms to target initiatives and subsidies and handouts to corporations. They don't do that.
That's what's needed for this country to prosper, for jobs to be created. See, that's what's needed. The corporations, they need that type of assistance for you regular people. Regular people don't need it though.
This is why Candace Owens made an appearance on Fox News the other day on Laura Ingram's show, and unfortunately, one of my heroes and somebody I highly respect actually showed up thinking he was going to have a good faith argument with this person, Candace Owens. Yeah, and that's why she went on Fox News to demonize socialism. But what she did was use kind of black people as a prop to demonize it. And she started talking about how black people were doing better after slavery, 100 years after slavery. And then all the welfare came and everything started going downhill from there. We were doing good. She said, this was her analysis. This is what her analysis entailed. After slavery, black people were prospering, and black people were going up, up, up.
Oh yeah,
and then
all through sharecropping,
all through Jim Crow, all through the lynching period, all that, and then she said, welfare hit, and black people started going down, down, down. That was her analysis. I was like, okay, that was an attempt to kind of demonize socialism, because those two things are the same thing.
How did government assistance work out for white people in the late 1800s, early 1900s? How did government assistance work out?
That was macroeconomics, Will. That's called macroeconomics. That's called nation building.
Oh.
Yes.
Nation building.
Yes. When the government allows white people to obtain land for pennies on the dollar, or things like benefiting from the GI Bill, when a lot of black soldiers weren't benefiting from the GI Bill.
Right.
Also, giving contractors, tax breaks if they constructed white-only neighborhoods. Things like
Nation building.
Nation building, man. Right. I mean, the list goes on, but that was nation building. That wasn't like welfare. That wasn't a social safety net.
Again, the speech by Bernie.
Forgot the VA home loans too. 95% of home loan and I guess assistance to buy a home was diverted to white people, essentially giving them equity. Building wealth through home equity. So,
the speech by Bernie was not different. I think the way he went out and I guess dispersed the information was a little bit different. It wasn't. I guess it was an update to things that he has said many, many times before, and I think he said it a lot better yesterday. So I am I'm grateful that he did, take that step, and I think he is showing himself to be a better candidate this go around than in 2016. We did have certain criticisms of him in 2016, and a lot of it, probably 99 to 100% of it, was about how he just didn't go the extra mile to really go in depth about some of his plans. To talk about how it was going to affect taxes, and he just didn't go in depth. He didn't do a lot of the attacking that he needed to do.
I don't think this is all him either. I think this is a consequence of the people he's surrounded himself with. Yeah. So this is growth. I don't even think this is all Bernie. No. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to I do not want to give the people surrounding him credit. You know what I'm saying? They're probably helping him out a lot because they're probably seeing what we're seeing and more.
There were and I think anybody can see that, if you're in the same mind as Bernie Sanders, if you speak that same language, if you believe in the same things that he does, then you would have probably saw the holes that were in his campaign in 2016. So going forward in another campaign, if those people are on staff, then they recognize the areas where he needed improvement. And I think he rectified a lot of that yesterday. So, of course, the boogeyman that socialism is not going to stop. It's not going to stop in the Democratic Party. It's not going to stop in the Republican Party. Everybody's going to rail against that. And centrist candidates like Hickenlooper that we talked about, they're going to talk about it.
Because that's bad for him.
It's horrible for him because he doesn't believe in that.
No, he doesn't believe in it because he benefits financially off of it.
Mm-hmm. He wants to do as much as he can. Okay. People like him, they want to do as much as they can to protect the corporate class, the elite class of people, big business, big pharma.
It'd be like biting the hand that feeds you, though.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why when we talk about, I don't know this to be the case with a guy like Hickenlooper, if he's taking corporate money or not. I have not delved into his politics. What money he's getting. I haven't gone that far because why? But even if he's not, I'm sure he has before. So with his type of narrative and railing against what Bernie Sanders is standing for, do you really think those connections to the connections that he made in previous years, do you really think they don't hold any weight anymore? It's not just about Hickenlooper. It's about an assortment of all of these different candidates and politicians. If they have technically cut the string, can you really say that string doesn't hold any weight or doesn't have any effects going forward?
I mean, it's like virtually still there.
Yeah, it's still there. You just, it's kind of like ceremonial. Like, I'm gonna cut the string. Yeah, but it still has the same effect.
Yeah, I was thinking, man, again, with the way people were describing this speech, I was expecting to, look up the video, you know what I'm saying, and see little thumbnails. I was expecting to see, Bernie's speech, the date, and where it is. And of course, you look up, the results. See the results, you see the thumbnails. I was expecting to see Bernie Sanders, with a hammer and sickle.
You gotta say that.
You know what I'm saying? Like a hammer and sickle shirt on, and hat, and red shirt. Yeah. That's what I was expecting based on how some of the media were describing it. You said something before the show. You mentioned an article.
Oh yeah. There was an article on The Atlantic And there were many articles. This was just
This one jumped out at you,
Yeah, this
though.
was just one that I saw, and it appears that the author is leftist, or views himself as leftist at least. And one of the areas where they didn't like Bernie Sanders' speech was that they said that he framed like, I guess, dictatorship, autocracies as a right wing thing, and he didn't mention, because during the speech he did list off a few different leaders. Talked about the leader of the Philippines, Duterte. Yeah, Duterte.
We always
difficult
fuck that-
name
we
to say,
fuck that name all
Duterte.
the time.
But like I said, he listed a few names. So this author had a problem with him only listing those names, but not left-wing autocrats. And so one of the left-wing autocrats that this author said he missed was North Korea's Kim Jong-un, a left-wing autocrat.
Whoa. No, I just kind of, I did like a time, I don't know, I did some sort of time space warp when you said that.
Yeah.
Because that must be like a reality in a different dimension.
It was strange. And they mentioned a few different names. I can't remember all of them. One of them also was Maduro in Venezuela. Now, I don't agree, but at least it was like, okay, I've heard that before. At least it wasn't so shocking where it was like, okay, because I've heard people proclaim that he was left wing, he's a socialist, blah blah blah. Okay, fine, I've heard that before. It's not shocking, but to go to Kim Jong-un as a left wing autocrat,
You're reaching.
wow.
You're reaching. Now. Have you ever heard anyone who labels themselves a progressive, leftist, or socialist? Have you ever heard them reference Kim Jong-un? You see what I'm saying? As someone to look at, a reference,
Kim Jong-un doing positive things.
a model. You see what I'm saying? Someone who is like modeling, I guess, certain political behavior. Modeling
a hero for his people.
Yeah, modeling behavior that exemplifies, a leftist perspective.
What did they say about him? They say that he's some evil dictator
Maniacal.
doesn't care about his people. His people are starving. This is a leftist?
No, socialist. Leftist and a socialist. I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
man.
but here's the thing. If this author is going to make that comparison, right? The comparison came about based on Bernie Sanders having a speech.
Yes.
Right? So it's not just about, defining or describing these autocratic dictators like Kim Jong-un as leftists. You're basically making a comparison between Kim Jong-un and Bernie Sanders, because the comparison wouldn't have been made because the article was in response to the speech, right? So at least they could kind of line by line go down a list, write a list of things that represent this leader and positions and proposals, and then do the same thing for the next, and then draw a line between the two, like
True.
compare
Yeah.
that.
Because I guess the business of them being autocrats is the same across the board. The left wing autocrats, the right wing autocrats, but this one is a left wing socialist autocrat over here. These are left wing socialist autocrats.
First of all, those two words don't go together.
I know, man.
Those two words don't go together.
I don't. You're doing too much. You're doing way too much to try to.
Because the concept of
Lump these things
the
together.
concept of socialism surrounds the workers owning the means of production. If that is present, that can't be present with an authoritarian, because power is concentrated upwards, not distributed downwards. So you can't.
Why? It seems like it's just terribly difficult for so many people to like say democratic socialism. you want to just remove that word democratic and you just want to deal with the socialism. Oh, well, it has socialism in it, so it's socialism. No. Bernie Sanders told you what he means. AOC has described what she means by democratic socialism. I mean, many people have said what it means. It doesn't mean socialism. That's not exactly what it means. So why would you just purposely misunderstand? Well, I guess I answered my own question there. I guess I did.
There's money in not understanding. That's what there's money.
Oh yeah, there's money to save. There's money to save for certain people.
Yeah.
Because the money's going to be there. The money's going to be there. It's how it's going to be distributed. I guess really that's all we're talking about. How is that money going to be distributed? How is that money going to be allocated? Like, what are we going to spend that money on? Are we going to keep spending that money on big business and, corporations? Are we going to keep, spending that on these industries that really they don't stand to benefit us? Really, they make life harder. You're talking about the fossil fuel industry that makes the environment worse. And in turn, because they make the environment worse, you make costs for regular people rise. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. But socialism for them, not us. All right. Let's stay with
Let's privatize the profits, socialize the losses. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what it was. I don't know why I couldn't think of it at the time.
All right. So 2020 news. Of course, Bernie Sanders is one of those Democratic presidential candidates for 2020. Breaking news on Thursday. The Democratic field has been set for the first debates. Actually, the first two debates, I believe. There's going to be some. We talked about that before, but there's some new, I guess, not guidelines, but new marks you have to hit for the third debates. But for the first two debates, the field has been set and it's been cut to 20. So there's a few people that have been left out. Right now, there are 24 Democratic presidential candidates. And the four that are going to be left out of the first round of debates are Montana Governor Steve Bullock. No surprise.
Wasn't he one of the candidates that got booed in California? Or that was somebody else?
No, it was...
It was Hickenlooper
and Delaney.
Delaney,
yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, so you don't even know who... We talked about Bullock. Bullock has a beef with the Democratic Party, with the DNC specifically, because...
Oh, they didn't want to have a... They didn't want to have a...
No, that's Inslee.
That's Inslee.
Yeah.
Oh, Bullock has a beef with the DNC because he thinks they screwed him as far as qualifications.
Yes, because he believes that he qualified for the debate because he... I guess he came in at 1% in 3 different polls, but one of those polls did not count according to the DNC, and he's mad about that.
He doesn't have a shot in hell.
Well, he doesn't have a shot in hell.
He doesn't have a shot in hell.
He's not making a debate, and nobody knows him really nationally, so of course he doesn't have a shot. So another one is Representative Seth Moulton, who's a Democratic representative from Massachusetts. Haven't heard really. Actually, anything. I've heard the least about him
than anyone else.
I think anybody.
I've heard more about Schultz than him, and Schultz wasn't officially running. Yeah. And he looks like he's pretty much bowing out now because
there's enough centrist candidates.
Yeah, there's enough centrist candidates. I think I don't even know if it was official, but didn't he have some like back problems or something? He wrote I just saw this long little thing he wrote. Apparently he's resting up for the summer. Has some back problems. Get well soon.
Florida mayor or Miramar, Florida mayor Wayne Messam. That's the third candidate that did not make the debates. Again, probably him and Moulton. Really, you've heard the least about those two candidates. And then former Senator Mike Gravel from Alaska. He didn't make the debates as well. Didn't expect him to make the debates. This wasn't, I guess you could debate how serious a run this was.
I don't think it was.
I don't think it was.
I just think,
he wanted to be included in the conversation. He wants to. I think he wants to drive that conversation left, no doubt. And he definitely has something to say.
And I don't think he's going to just stop talking simply because he's not going to be in a debate.
Right.
You know, but yeah.
So those are the 4 that did not make it. So the 20, the giant clown car, includes Joe Biden, Senator Bernie Sanders, Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg, Representative Tulsi Gabbard, Jay Inslee, the governor of Washington, Senator Amy Klobuchar, Beto O'Rourke, Senator Elizabeth Warren, Marianne Williamson, Andrew Yang, and also Senator Michael Bennet, Bill de Blasio, New York City Mayor, John Delaney, John Hickenlooper, Tim Ryan, and Eric Swalwell. So that is the full list of the 20.
That's it?
Yeah, I felt like I was going on forever.
Okay.
But yeah, that's it.
Show's over now. That's all the time we have.
I'm saying, damn, how long did that take, man? Well, yeah, all of those did qualify. Now, only 14 of them, I guess, doubly qualified that met the threshold of the 65,000 individual contributors. And then also I think you had to have 200 contributors from 20 states. 14 candidates met that threshold and the polling threshold as well. But there were 6 candidates that only met one of them, and that was through the polling. They didn't get the requirement through the supporters, through the contributors.
When do those new requirements?
That's for the third debate.
That's for the third debate. Okay. I'm foreseeing about half of these will drop off.
Yeah. At least 6 of them are probably going to
drop
off. At the very least 6 of them are
I'm
going to
thinking
drop
half,
off.
but
yeah.
I really have no problem with that. Like, some people are mad, but you do have to do it like that.
You do. I mean, it has to get dwindled down
somehow.
You can't have 20 going into the primary. That would be ridiculous. So tomorrow, though, is I guess important for this field. In New York at 30 Rockefeller Plaza, the DNC is going to be there and is going to be determining, or actually it's going to be a lottery to determine how these candidates are going to be distributed through the 2 debates. I believe so. And where they're going to be on the debate stage, stuff like that. I believe so, yeah.
And who they're going to be matched up against?
I think so. I think all that is going to happen tomorrow.
A lottery, you say?
A lottery is going to be Friday morning, NBC's headquarters at 30 Rockefeller Plaza.
Are they going to pick names out of a hat?
I don't know what the process is going to be.
Like one of the little suction cup machines. They're going to put balls.
Maybe you got balls with faces
on them.
Yeah.
And ball sucks up and it just... I need to see. We need to see it. We need to see it as setup too.
I don't know what time it is, but it does say Friday morning, so be on the lookout. All eyes will be watching.
I need somebody to do it. Whatever, if they're using a machine or if they're just hand picking. Yeah. I want everything laid out.
Yeah. I do want to know what the process is. I don't know what the process is.
Skeptical. I'm not saying anything, nefarious is going on.
But I'm just rigged. Machine.
I wouldn't say the machine itself, but they could, manipulate the results, or potentially manipulate the results by putting someone's name in there multiple times.
Right. They could. You never know. The third and fourth round of debates, which it said that it's due to be in the fall, so some months away now. It said candidates are going to have to hit 2% in 4 approved polls instead of 1% in 3 polls.
Yeah.
And then they will also have to have individual contributions, 130,000 individual contributions with 400 donors in 20 states. So really it's like they're just timesing it by 2, multiplying it by 2.
That's going to take away.
It's going to be, and they're going to have to hit both of those, I believe. You can't just hit one or the other. You're going to have to hit both of them.
So hit both, and the required I guess, qualification number for both is higher as well.
Yes.
So yeah,
And I believe right now there's only 8 that have already qualified based on those rules. So
how much basically we're looking at how much movement the ones that haven't qualified yet are going to get. How much movement will they get?
Hey,
or how much movement will they achieve?
They're gonna have to have a bang up performance at the debate. They got 2 of them.
I will say, I won't say it's completely out of the question, considering there's 2 debates.
True, it's not.
This is a good opportunity for them to boost their numbers up.
Yeah. You're gonna have to do something though to stand out.
You got to find your spot though.
Can they do that?
I don't know, because
most of them can.
Who is it? Is it didn't they already reveal the moderators? Because one of them is Rachel Maddow and Lester Holt.
Yeah, I can't remember who the first one is though.
I know it's Rachel Maddow and Lester Holt. But I can't remember the other 2. Those are just the 2 that stood out to me.
I can't remember.
Obviously, those 2 stood out to me, but the other 2, I just...
Is that for the first debate?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Well,
or it could have been, they were just listing who they have chosen for all the debates that are just scheduled. So I'm not sure if it was the first one or that was just names that they brought up for future debates as well.
Well, we'll see. Like I said, they got 2 debates to make an even bigger name of themselves, to get even more recognition and shine. So they better, be on their P's and Q's. What do we want to go to right now? Let me just hit some updates real quick. Excuse me. In Missouri, we talked about that a few weeks ago. Talked about there only being one abortion clinic, a clinic that does provide abortions in the state, and that's in St. Louis, and it's a Planned Parenthood location, and how state officials, Republican state officials, have been not threatening. They were not going to renew their license, and it was set to expire very soon. But a judge stepped in and they delayed that. The judge's name is Judge Michael Stelzer, is a circuit court judge. Delayed it, but then recently, just on Monday, he blocked the Missouri state officials from closing down that Planned Parenthood location, and gave Missouri health officials till June 21st to make a decision about that location's license. So that is not welcome news to these Republicans in the state. They were hoping to close down abortions for good in the state, but that's not going to happen. I mean, it's already a horrible situation only having one abortion provider in a whole state.
But then closing down that facility would essentially undercut women's constitutional protections.
Constitutional protections. And that's what they want to do. They're constitutionalists, but they don't give a damn about the Constitution.
And then if you shut down that clinic, right? And I think most of us know that those clinics kind of provide services beyond abortion.
No. Abortion services are only a small percentage of actually what they do. So they do many things. So family planning. They do a lot of different things. They don't only just see women either. They do a lot of different things, and abortion services is only a very small percentage of that. So you want to close down their facilities? Come on, man. All right, another update. Alabama, we've talked about the chemical castration bill. Governor Kay Ivey did sign that bill on Monday. And so we've talked about that and the problems that we've had with it being very non-specific. The bill, anybody under the age of 13, if you are found guilty of an offense, a sexual offense on anybody under the age of 13, to get out of prison, you will have to undergo chemical castration.
And the law wasn't specific on what type of sexual offenses would result in that type of punishment.
Wide ranging. It could be anything. It's left to the imagination, really. And whatever you think could be a sexual offense, okay, it's a sexual offense, and now you have to undergo chemical castration. And then to get off of the sexual castration, it would be up to a court, not a team of health
Doctors.
professionals, doctors, psychologists. No, it would be the court. It's ridiculous. There's also one other thing that in Alabama that it was like I was reading it, and this was like at least 10 years ago, something like that. I don't know. It just seemed like this wasn't news for 2019. So Governor Kay Ivey signed a law. Signed a bill into law that it creates a medical marijuana study commission. A medical marijuana study commission. So they're taking baby steps to possibly legalizing medical marijuana in the state of Alabama in 2019. Doesn't this seem like, why are you dragging your heels? You're talking about medical marijuana in 2019 when there have been several states that have already legalized marijuana recreationally.
Yeah, recreationally.
And you're still talking about, well, we don't know if we want to medical marijuana. Let's take this slow. Let's take this real slow here. We got to be careful. We got to protect people.
Maybe they're just taking it slow and waiting on, she's waiting on some of her friends to invest in some of these companies.
It's all about that almighty dollar.
Maybe she's waiting on some of her friends, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. To take advantage of the proceeds.
Yeah, exactly. To invest in some of these companies and get paid.
My gosh, man. Shit is backwards, man. Let's see. I think that's the updates that we have. You want to do?
Because we still got the Ohio.
Yeah, we got the
Columbus,
Ohio.
Ohio. We got
Presley.
And, Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Or
I guess.
FBI.
Oh, we got. You know what? Let's do this real quick because this is funny, right? Because this won't even take that long right here. Months ago, we talked about Representative Duncan Hunter, who's a Republican from California, and we talked about how him and his wife had been under investigation, federal investigation for misusing campaign funds. Now they were accused of using like $250,000 improperly, I believe, something
improperly,
like that.
they some charges on a credit card.
Yes. They would try to phony up records. Like they would buy different merchandise from like a golf resort or something like that, but then list it as balls for wounded warriors.
Yeah, he bought some cargo shorts and stuff like that.
Yeah. Also, they overdrew their personal bank account over 1,000 times in a 7-year period, and it resulted in $37,761 in overdraft and insufficient funds, all in fees, right? And so I guess, of course, they used this money, these campaigns funds to pay back that money.
They went on
vacations, lavish vacations to Italy, Hawaii. And they use campaigns funds for that.
Live streaming video games or streaming movies, buying video games.
Food.
Like, it was like the restaurants were like, what? It was like White Castle, Dairy Queen, like In-N-Out Burger. It was like the In-N-Out Burger was like $2,000, $3,000 or something.
Yes, man. Fast food joints, man. Also, the wife, right? So this was a tandem operation. This was Duncan Hunter and his wife, Margaret.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, Bonnie and Clyde for real. But so Margaret Hunter was at the time, at a certain point in time, through these purchases and this misuse of campaign funds, she was not a part of the campaign, but she still had a campaign credit card. So that was one of the just egregious errors that were made. But then after that, she became the campaign manager, and Duncan Hunter said that it was because the family needed more income.
Like, you already have a slush fund. You already siphoned the money from a campaign, but you still need money.
Yes. And the treasurer for Duncan Hunter was, he was pushing back on these decisions. Like, man, are you crazy? Like, this is not what you should be doing. and he accused anybody that really challenged him or brought this up as people that were disloyal to him. So anyway, so they were charged. Okay, so they were charged. They both claimed that they were innocent. Duncan Hunter, through his attorney, said that this was it was purely politically motivated, even though the decision to indict him was U.S. Attorney Adam Braverman's decision, who was appointed by Attorney General Jeff Sessions, a
Beauregard.
Republican.
Beauregard.
So anyway, like I said, they pleaded not guilty. So this was months ago. This was back in August of last year, 2018. Today, there was an update on the story. And the update is not good news for one Representative Duncan Hunter, who was, albeit all this information being released in August.
He was proclaiming his innocence.
But he was reelected even. He was reelected in November.
Was it 51?
Yes. Yeah, it was like a slim margin. Yeah.
Was it?
It might have been 51 or 52. I can't remember which one it is. But it wasn't, I don't think he won by a lot, but still it was like, okay, y'all, everybody in that district, you have to know that this dude is being brought up on charges of misusing campaign funds, and you're still giving him funds? Like, are you crazy, man? Anyway, so again, there's an update to the story. Representative Duncan Hunter's wife, Margaret, has pleaded guilty now. She has changed her plea to guilty to conspiring with her husband to misuse campaign funds. So she was there alone with her own personal attorney. Duncan Hunter was not present.
I'm about to say, because they didn't have joint counsel. They had separate counsel.
I believe they had separate. If they didn't have separate counsel at first, they definitely do now, because it would definitely be a conflict of interest for one attorney to be representing somebody who says, yeah, I'm with him and we were trying to do this whole scheme together, and the other one's like, nah, I'm not with that. I wasn't doing anything.
See, it would make more sense for the wife to be like, I didn't really know. I'm ignorant of this because I'm just the wife. Like, he understands all the rules.
Yeah.
I just thought it was okay.
Yeah.
It would have made more sense for the wife to be like, yeah, we did it, but I didn't know it was something wrong with it. Because, see, I'm the wife. He's the one running. He's the politician. He's running the show.
Yeah.
It would have made more sense for her to do that. But for him to do that?
Yeah. He's claiming that, again, he is innocent. So in a statement when pleading guilty, she said, I have fully accepted responsibility for my conduct. I am deeply remorseful and I apologize. I am saddened for the hurt I have caused my family and others. I understand that there will be more consequences stemming from my actions, but as demonstrated this morning with the entry of the plea, I've taken the first step to face those consequences. So she is due to be sentenced on September 16th, and she faces up to 5 years in prison.
Again, like, one half of the operation has already copped.
One half has already copped. So what is that to being guilty?
So what does that mean for the other half? What does that usually mean for the other half? How does it look for the
other half? You would have to say would be the one you would put like ringleader on, because she couldn't be the ringleader.
No, because it wasn't her campaign.
It wasn't her campaign. He would have to give her access. He would have to okay access, like here,
and then he would have to like look the other way and not be involved in the expenditures. If he wasn't involved in the expenditures,
I think he went to Italy.
Oh no, he went. He went to a lot of different places.
Yes.
I'm looking up some of these expenditures and like, yo, this is mad funny. Like Punky Brewster memorabilia.
Oh my.
Like some people, maybe watch the show. Y'all not old enough to remember Punky Brewster.
Old enough for that.
I
get some Punky Brewster.
Yeah, I had a crush on Punky Brewster.
I get some memorabilia. Yeah.
Minnie Mouse ears. That was the trip to Disneyland. Let's see. Where else? Like I said, In-N-Out Burger, Carl's Jr.
Oh my God.
Jack in the Box, Wendy's, McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and other fast food chains. Albertsons, Marine Corps Air Station. Trips to Costco, Walmart, Barnes & Noble, Target, Michael's, a personal ski trip. We forgot about that.
Yeah,
we talked about it in Italy. That's when they went to Tahoe.
Right.
They went to a spa and a casino. Items for their house. like tablecloths, pillows. Like this expenditure list is ridiculous. Beer, tequila, out drinking. Yo.
So they're just trying to live regular and like on the elite level at the same time.
Here's my favorite though. They spent money on a family rabbit.
So his constituents bought that rabbit.
This reminds me of a Star Wars droid knit beanie.
Oh my!
Yeah, this list is long.
$250,000, man. It goes a long way.
$250 goes a long way. So they have everything itemized. I'm looking at Los Angeles Times right now. That's the website that has a lot of the itemized.
You know, this is another quote in the plea agreement. Okay, now this tells you a little bit of something about. I guess this informs you about where this may go. Okay, going forward, like where this may go.
This is your little detail.
Little detail right here. So, this was released by the government, the plea agreement. In it, it said that Margaret Hunter would, quote, make a good faith effort to provide substantial assistance to the United States in the investigation and prosecution of others. End quote. That word, others. That word.
I'm trying to think of who that others would be in this situation.
Who is the other?
Who is the other?
Damn, are they still living in the same house?
I don't think that matters.
Oh boy. Yo, yeah, I don't think they should be living in the same house anymore. Nope. No.
Because she's cooperating.
Oh yes. Publicly. This isn't in the
She let your boy know. Like, yo, I'm taking this. I'm pleading guilty and I'm cooperating.
Wow. I'd say he's probably done. It's not looking good.
This reminds me of the other situation with Christopher Collins.
Yes.
Because his family accepted guilt while he was like, ain't nothing went wrong.
Yes.
That was the representative
in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Who was also reelected.
And he was reelected by the Party of Law and Order. He was indicted for insider trading, but he was the insider. He was the
one with the access to
information. Like he sat on the board of this company, and it was some sort of pharmaceutical drug, and him and his family invested in it. He was on the board for this company, and he got his family members involved. Not just his immediate family members. Got his his son-in-law,
extended family
involved.
His son's soon-to-be wife, I believe. Got her parents invested with the company too, and then after drug trials
failed.
That
he basically knew the drug trials were failing.
Yes,
and he was like, he took that information, pulled his money out, and told them to pull their money out.
He didn't pull his money out. He couldn't.
That's right.
The only reason he didn't because he couldn't because his money was, I believe, tied up in Australia, and he couldn't take it out. But he could get his son to take his money out. So and the parents of his girlfriend.
They basically just he told him to pull out and don't bust.
Yep.
And he got caught.
Nice analogy, though.
Yeah, FBI caught his ass. I mean, they had him like red-handed. They had him on the phone making calls, saying it failed, and so.
But he still came out indignant. He still came out defiant. It was like, oh no, I'm not guilty, and oh no, I'm not suspending my re-election plans. And he did end up suspended his re-election plans, but then he ended up resuming them, and then he got re-elected by the Law and Order Party.
Yeah. And the same thing kind of happened with him. Is that the other people involved, his family members, essentially admitted guilt.
And they gave up ill-gotten goods, the proceeds, the money they got back that they saved, they gave it up.
They're not guilty. Think about the resistance to accept blame when you're caught red-handed in these two cases with Duncan Hunter and Christopher Collins. It's not just they got caught. There's other elements to it that kind of display their lack of I guess, self-awareness and personal responsibility, because the people that they're directly tied to have accepted blame.
Yeah.
But they can't.
They can't.
Or they
It's
don't want
crazy.
to. Or they can. They just don't want to.
I'm sure they wanted to get reelected. That was weighing on their minds, and maybe they thought they could really outrun it, man. But
maybe they thought they can get reelected and maybe get a pardon, but he can't. I don't think he can't. That's not all. Those don't, even though the FBI dealt with it, they probably referred the cases to the state level.
Maybe.
So I don't know if they can get pardoned. I don't think so. I have to look that up.
I don't know. But again, Duncan Hunter, his wife turning the state's evidence, really.
Bonnie.
Ooh,
Bonnie turned on you.
turned on him.
Bonnie.
It does not look good for him. I think it's just a matter of when now. I don't know when that win is, but
Clyde is crying in the car.
yeah,
He's crying in the car.
It's over, man. It's over. We should look to see if there's a response from him today. I didn't see if there was a response because a reporter stuck a mic in his face, or is trying to at least.
That'll be necessary.
It have to be.
I'll be itching for a chance to stick a mic in his face. So, how you feel about your wife rolling over? How do you feel about your wife turning state's evidence?
Oh, God.
How do you feel about that, Mr. Hunter? Your wife has pled guilty, is currently indicted, and is now helping law enforcement.
This is wow. It
Helping law enforcement with the prosecution of others. Are you that other, Mr. Hunter? Yeah, I'd be like,
my guy's reporting game.
I already got my reporting game on, dog. I'll probably get slapped, dog. I'll probably get punched.
Yo, that would be hilarious, man. But I hope a reporter does ask some of those questions, man. It's gonna happen. It's got to happen. He's got to show himself at some point. I don't know if it was today, but he's got to show himself. All right, so let's move on. What were we gonna get to?
I think the next two stories, you can tie those together.
Okay, all right. Let's go to the Columbus police. Yeah, let's go to that one. All right. So was this over the weekend or was this on?
This was.
It was Friday, wasn't it?
This was last week.
Yeah, I think it was
Friday.
last week. Okay, so some video has been made. Well, some video is viral now, and it shows Columbus, Ohio police officers, showing up to a street in Columbus, Ohio, of course. They were alerted to the scene because of reports of gunfire. So there's some video, like I said, that showed one of the police officers punching a man. And that is the video that went viral. Since then, the Columbus Police Department has provided different angles from body cams worn by, 3 different officers that were right there on the scene. So the one officer that is accused of and that you will see that is striking a man, his name is A.J. Johnson. A.J. Johnson has a little bit of a fame to him. He's known as the dancing cop. You can see him in there's many videos. He dances. He's in the community. He does these motivational speaking engagements. Like I said, he I guess his shtick is that he wants to be engaged in the community, and I guess not have the case be that people are scared of cops and that cops are going to do the wrong thing. He's really there to sell the vision of policing in that community, that they're here to protect the community, not terrorize them. But anyway, that's another matter that we'll get to in a little bit. But anyway, so the man that A.J. Johnson struck, his name is Jonathan Robinson, a 25-year-old black man. And so we're going to run the video. And I guess to lead off the video, what you're going to see is that there's a woman that's carrying a child in her arm, and she's crossing the street to get into a home.
You may not see that at first.
Yeah, you might. I guess your eyes won't immediately get directed there, but that's what I guess that's the situation.
Pay attention to that.
Yeah, that's the situation that I guess brought forth. The
agitation.
Yeah, the agitation.
From, what was the guy's name? I forgot his.
The officer?
No, the guy with the dreads.
Oh, okay. His name Jonathan Robinson.
Oh, that's right.
So Jonathan Robinson is the husband of that woman that's crossing the street. So. I guess really that's all the information that you need at first. So just pay attention to the woman crossing the street, and then you'll see the rest of the events transpire.
Hey! Get back! Or what? Get back! Or what? Get back! Or what? Get back! Bro, look how you're doing, bro. He did nothing, bro. He did nothing. I got you, he did nothing. Hey, whoa. Hey. Back up. Don't do that. You're on the ground. He's mine. All right. Stand up. There you go. Come on. I don't know what makes you think it'd be a good idea to square with an officer. I don't know that that's necessary, sir.
Yeah, none of this was necessary.
Yeah, you did this to yourself. You came running up on a scene.
Bro, I mean,
with your fist clenched and then swung at an officer.
What was you ready to do to my wife and my 2 kids in her hand? You was ready to hurt her, was you not?
No, I was not.
You lying, bro.
She came running up on a scene potentially involving a gun.
Nowhere near
yes, she did. Yes, she did.
I came near to make sure that y'all had distance.
What was he doing?
Same deal. Trip run up on officers with his fist clenched.
So just straight obstruction?
Yep.
Okay.
One thing we like to talk about, especially when situations like this go down, is to, obviously, we want to hear both sides. We want to hear explanations for, I guess, the actions that were taken on both sides. But specifically the cops, when you kind of look at, the justifications that they use for why they approach something a certain way. And usually what points out to me is when they include something that's not true. And if they include something that's not true or didn't happen, that leads me to believe that they think they did something wrong. They just don't want to admit it. What jumped out at you during that interaction with Robinson and him in the cop car, the cruiser?
Oh, yeah. The first thing that jumped out was, and I believe that was A.J. Johnson, Officer A.J. Johnson in the car, saying that you swung at an officer? Or is that what he said?
And here's the thing. I don't have a problem with the officer walking up in that situation.
Right.
I'm not even sure he quite knows what's going on. He's there to assess the situation. The guy comes across the street. He might not even know why Robinson is coming across the street. When I first saw the video, I didn't recognize that as well. And a lot of people just thought that, oh, he's just coming up to just talk shit to the officer and squared up on him. Now, when they released the video, I was like, oh, it looks like his wife walking across the street, and then the interaction that the officer had with his wife kind of prompted him to walk over the street. Now, he could have been agitated unnecessarily. I won't even dispute that. He could have been unnecessarily agitated. But if you're an officer, I don't need to be an officer to know that if I walk up to somebody that is not looking at me and I touch this person in a very aggressive way, I push them by the shoulder without even like acknowledging that, hey, I'm talking to you, and then 1.5 seconds later punch that person in the face, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't seem like an action that would de-escalate a situation. That seems like an action that would actually escalate a situation. It didn't seem like he was interested in de-escalating the situation. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I have no problem with the officer walking up to him and saying, back the fuck up. Hey, back up, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you're going to get, I'll charge you with obstruction of police investigation. Back up. I have no problem if you would have walked up to him and like, hey, you know, once he got his attention, that would have been fine for me.
But it was the placing your hands on the
initially,
and then
somebody who's not even looking at you,
and then his reaction of, you know, kind of getting your hand off of him, and then you swing at that person. Like, okay, so this is the situation of what happened, and this is the account of Robinson and his wife, and even his brother that was there at the time as well. His brother's name is Daryl Sloan. So Robinson said, quote, "The only reason why I looked his way is because he touched me. As soon as his hand was gone, I put my direction back to the officer I was actually talking to, and the next thing I know, I'm getting punched," end quote. His brother said, quote, "They knew they were coming to get the kids out of the house. They knew that. They didn't communicate with other officers. All of that could have been avoided," end quote. So what he's saying is that it seems as though everybody was across the street. Now, the home that they were, like, the police officers were in that home. And like I said, this was because of a call of shots fired. So they were in the home, I guess, investigating, searching out, whatever they were doing. There were kids in the home as well. His wife, Jonathan Robinson's wife, apparently, according to them, they got the okay. She got the okay to go in the house, get the kids, bring them out. So there obviously was another officer by where they were. Yes, so then she walked across the street to go there, and that's when another officer who was not informed of that, stopped her, and then that's when her husband, Jonathan Robinson, came up and hold on, what are you doing here? Yeah. And again, like Mike said, he could have been unnecessarily agitated. It could have been, you know, like ramping things up a little bit too much, like a response that really wasn't fit for the situation. That could have been the case. And like you said too about Officer AJ Johnson coming to the scene, like, yo, you need to back up the hell out of here. Okay, you're gonna be, we're gonna hit you with an obstruction of police. Yeah. You know, disorderly conduct. Whatever. Whatever. Yeah. You're obstructing our investigation. That's what, you know, we're gonna charge you, right? So I have no problem with him coming on the scene. It's you physically touched this man, and you knew that you had to know that a possible result of that was going to be to escalate the situation. When you're in the car talking to him, you're saying that it's his fault, and you don't swing at an officer. He didn't swing at you. He swung his hand off of you, like you grabbed him, and he got away from you.
He went like this. He backed up.
Yeah, and then you punched him. Like, that's taking it a step way too damn far. Again, you can go over there and you can say you need to back up. We're, you know, this is a course of an investigation. You're obstructing. You need to go over there. You need to go over there. But the minute you put your hands on somebody and then they respond, but by not being so enthused with that decision that you made, you don't have the right to just cold cock him in the face. Like, what you think that's gonna do? And then because you punched him in the face, that's the reason why you arrested him. It wasn't because he was still standing there. It wasn't because he was agitated. You punched him. And so when there's a hit now, when you have connected with him, now there has to be an arrest.
Yeah, because think about, what would he have arrested Robinson for if he didn't punch him? what was that? What was arrestable before that moment? Do you see what I'm saying?
No, he was standing there, but he at the time he was not adhering to the orders. Yo, you need to get out of here. But I don't think you only get 2 seconds to adhere to the order.
It was like, 2 seconds, and then from the time he got pushed, from the time he got punched, it was like 1.3, 1.5 seconds. But it didn't look like the officer was interested in giving direct and clear orders first.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I don't think a punch is an efficient way, I guess let your desires be known.
No.
That's not a command.
No.
Because that's what he did.
Yeah.
Push and punch.
That's it.
He
wasn't even the officer that Robinson was talking to. He wasn't even the officer that was. He wasn't even looking at him. He came on the scene, put his hands on him, and then, like I said, because Robinson is now even more agitated because you put your hands on him, now he feels the need to punch him. It's just way over the top. And there's also some other video that I want to show as well. And I believe this is also Officer A.J. Robinson in the car with Jonathan Robinson. Or I'd say A.J. Robinson. A.J. Johnson. Officer A.J. Johnson. He's in the vehicle in his squad car with Jonathan Robinson in the back. This is after the arrest. And he's just speaking to him. And it's just very interesting, the words that are being said here. So we're going to take a listen here.
Just future reference, man, like I know it's hard, man. I know stuff like that happen like this, man. Trust me, like stuff like when it's going down, man, stuff like, and that's your wife and them is your kids, man. I ain't got no kids, but I can't imagine. I know what I do for my wife. But just at least grab her, you know what I mean? Wrap her up, be like, hey, come on, like, nah, we don't trust them or whatever, you know what I mean? Yes, sir. Because when you put yourself in this situation, man, like this is, unfortunately, this is what has to happen. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, we have a use of force. What's that gonna look like if I steal on you and then you don't go to jail? You know what I mean? They're gonna be like, oh, they didn't even have nothing. You know how that go, man.
Shit. Slept that shit on off, man. I've been alright. So that's really what I thought was gonna happen too, bro. I really thought y'all was gonna toss me in the car, goddamn, yada yada yada.
I wish, man. It's a different time now. How old are you?
I'm 25.
25. It's a different time now, man. It's a different time now, man. Back in the day, that's probably what would have happened. You know what I mean? Probably just be like, hey, man, don't do that again. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, you know, a lot has changed, man.
So that let me lower. Yeah, there's some feedback here. That exchange by the two of them was interesting. When he began, and with him saying, hey, you know, it wasn't the smartest thing to do. You know, if you're gonna come over there, you know, grab your girl. You just get in front of her. Let her be your concern. I'm good with that. I'm actually good with that because again, you don't want to square up on an officer. You don't want to give them any reason to feel like this is a heightened situation where they need to be on alert or anything like that. Yeah, actually, that was not bad advice. But then he goes into, what's it going to look like? I steal on you, I hit you, and then you don't go to jail. That was the reasoning that he provided for why he had to be taken to jail now, why he has to be charged. Because A.J. Johnson hit him.
He's going to say, what would that look like? But what would that look like for him as an officer? That's what that was about.
Yeah,
that's shit.
Yeah, that's not appropriate.
It's like, now that I punched him, I have to arrest him.
Yeah,
I have to have him on something because if I just punched him,
that's a lawsuit.
And that's what he pretty much said. Yeah. He actually said this.
And Jonathan Robinson, while he was in the back of the car, saying that he did suspect that once this was all over, he thought he was going to spend, a little while in the squad car. He was going to be let go. And, Officer Johnson is like, nah, man, we're living in a different time now. We can't do that no more. This is a different time. I don't even know what he's talking about. This is a different time and you can't do that anymore. I don't think there was any time where it was appropriate for somebody to be taken to jail because you hit them. I don't think that was appropriate at any time.
Disorderly conduct, maybe? That's about it. Disorderly conduct.
Well, and that's what he was charged with. Jonathan Robinson, he was charged with disorderly conduct and impeding official business. But sans the punch, without that punch by Officer Johnson, would he have been charged with anything? Like, if there was another cop that knew how to actually de-escalate the situation, that was like, yo, dude, we're on official business right here, man. Please, take your wife. You got to go over onto the other street. Like, why are you over here, man? Maybe you could have actually got into a conversation with him, like. You would have got a reasoning for why she was actually even coming across the street in the first place.
I was about to say, so we have a situation where there was police officers failing to communicate with one another.
Uh-huh.
So that's where the confusion came.
Yeah.
And so Robinson is like, wait a second. Like, why are you trying to block my wife from going over in this house when she was just told she can go inside and get the kids? You see what I'm saying? So we have a situation where there's police officers not communicating with each other.
Yep.
So I don't know, man. Like, and I just, like, I read a statement released by the police department, and I really...
Oh, yeah. Let's show that, because after the video, and before the video from the body cams were made public, and it was just a video from somebody that was taking cell phone video, after that, there was a tweet that was provided by the Columbus Police Department. And so this was the tweet. Chief Quinlan reviewed the officer's body and video while uses of force can appear shocking, the officer on preliminary review was protecting bystanders during a call for service where guns were fired. Full investigation to follow. Be patient. We'll release the BWC Monday. Protecting bystanders.
You see, that's some bullshit.
That's what the officer was doing by punching Robinson in the face.
You're seeing how they set it up, right? First, they invoke protection of people in the immediate area, which that wasn't the case. Yeah. Second, they kind of try to invoke this kind of like almost trying to set it up. Oh, these police are on edge because of gunfire, even though at the time the situation has already been resolved. They already have somebody. If you saw the video, they have somebody in cuffs. So the situation has already pretty much been resolved. So there's no threat of more gunfire. But you got to put that in there so it makes it look like, hey, police are on edge. They're responding to dangerous situations. So pretty much setting it up to justify what we saw in the video. This is why I don't like how police departments respond to this. Because it's not just about, especially in this case, it's not just about one officer. I'm not even going to call him a bad police officer. I'm just saying in this particular situation, he did not deal with it correctly. And then following the situation, he then went on to justify to the person he punched why he had to arrest him in a very disingenuous way to protect themselves. I'm not even going to go as far as saying he's a bad cop. I'm just saying in this situation, he needs to be held accountable.
Yeah.
And from the jump, what did the police department do? Not only did they come to his defense, you can tell how they tried to manipulate their audience by how they set it up.
Yeah.
And
put the blame on elsewhere, not on the police officer.
Not a police officer. And listen, but think about the logic here that police use to justify when, officers overreact. Like, I understand it's a dangerous situation that involved gunshots, right? So police are going to be on edge, right? Okay, police are on edge. But wouldn't the people who were directly involved in the situation, the civilians who were directly involved in the situations, who were direct witnesses and who were in the situation, in this dangerous situation, wouldn't they be on edge too? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? So why are the actions of police justified if a situation is dangerous and they're on edge? But the people who actually have to go through the situations, the civilians or the witnesses or people involved in that dangerous situation, in this case a gun going off, why can't they be on edge either? Why are all their reactions or overreactions like kind of elevated? You know what I'm saying? And judged differently.
Well, we saw a situation like that in Miami-Dade County, and it was a woman, last name Lovin. Remember, she was with a friend, and a shotgun was pointed at her, and one of the officers that arrived on the scene to, I guess assess what happened and who's responsible, who's guilty, this and that, was being real difficult and kind of acting like they were the perpetrators, they were guilty, and she was getting upset. She was getting very perturbed and annoyed by this questioning. So her voice reflected that, and it wasn't only because of that; it was because she had just had a shotgun pointed at her as well. So her emotions are heightened, and reasonably so. She ended up getting arrested because she wouldn't calm down, and her tone was too loud.
I'm like, dude, She just got a gun pointed at her.
Yeah.
And I mean, and you've probably kind of been a party or being on the receiving end when somebody's agitated.
No doubt.
But you recognize that that person ain't mad at you, especially if they're talking about something they went through and it's stressful for them.
It's just a situation.
It's just a situation.
And with this situation that we see in Columbus, Ohio, like you said, it's not just officers. Even though at this moment in time right here, it looks like the situation is, being handled and like it doesn't look like there's any reason to be like on high alert at this particular moment in time. It's just that somebody crossed the street, and if these officers did not know why, then it's like, okay, what are you doing here? And again, we allege that, hey, Anthony Robinson, I believe, Jonathan Robinson, when he crosses the street and his emotions are heightened, and maybe he did not handle things the right way. I think that could be a fair assessment.
Like I said, he could have been unnecessarily agitated.
Yeah.
But you can't ignore the agitation as if it doesn't relate to the miscommunication.
Right. You have to connect all of those situations.
That, yeah.
You can't put your hands on somebody as an officer, and then because of their reaction to it, I don't think it was an overreaction by him. That part was not an overreaction. You put your hands on him, and he got your hand off. I think he has a right to do that. There's nothing that says that he can't get your hand off of him, no matter what he did, right? But he didn't go too far and swing at you. He didn't kick you. He didn't try to assault you in any way whatsoever. You took the fight to him, and you're being protected by your own police department. It's disgusting, man.
And if I was if I was a high-ranking officer within the police department, if I was Johnson's superior, that's the last name, Johnson.
Yeah, AJ Johnson.
If I was his superior and I looked at the footage and I was like, and I checked that against what he said in the car, I'm like, man, something doesn't add up. Mm-hmm. You said he took a swing when he didn't. So again, why?
Clearly he did.
So why would you insert that into the narrative? Like, why would he need to? You don't need to insert that into the narrative. You don't need to insert something that didn't happen if you were justifying your actions, and that's.
So it could be two different things now here too, though. One of them is what you're saying about how that's like a perceived guilt. Like that's something that you already feel guilty and you have to add something into it. But another case could be that this is just their mentality. They really feel like they are being assaulted. No matter what happens, they feel like their actions are justified because something happened here.
Something happened.
Like something happened. Like it didn't happen, but it must have happened. You must have took a swing at me because I took a swing at you. It had to have happened. Either way, this is, but you say you wouldn't go so far as to call him a bad police officer. This was definitely bad policing, though. Definitely an instance where this is bad policing, and it should be handled as such. Nobody's saying that he has to lose his job. We're not making that determination right now. But Anthony Robinson shouldn't have been arrested, and he shouldn't be facing charges because he got hit in the face either. Because that's really why he's facing charges, because he got sucker punched by Officer A.J. Johnson.
Hey, and the whole thing about him, dancing with some the kids in the community, I take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
We see that all the time. We see officers playing basketball, racing. That's great.
It's nice to see.
It's nice to see.
It is nice to see. Nobody can argue that. It's nice to see. Does it? Obviously, because this is the particular type, officer that we're talking about in those videos, engaging with the community, trying to build respect for just the whole institution of policing in that particular, I guess, precinct that's in the community. Does it mean everything that you see on social media and his engagements with the community, does it mean that they won't exceed their authority?
Exactly. Still in a position of power. Mm-hmm. And judging by the conversation he had in the car with Robinson, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
He seemed hell-bent on, number one, asserting that power, and then justifying the use of force.
Yep.
But yeah, I think most of that, when we see, cops playing basketball and dancing, I think a lot of that's for PR.
Yeah. They got a job. they got a job to do, and it's not just, I guess, in their official capacity. They do have to be a salesman as well, a salesperson. They do have to be a salesperson. They have to sell to the community, to the country at large, too, that we're good guys. We're not bad guys. You know, we are the good guys. We stand up for, you know, the individual's rights and the Constitution, and we're here to protect and serve. We're not here to batter, commit a battery on people, and we see it too much, man. Like you said, those videos that we see of these officers engaging in the community, it's always good to see. I like to see it. When doing the dab, you know what I'm saying? Dancing, shooting some ball, crossing somebody up. I mean, it's like, hey, I do like to see that you're engaging the community. But when the situation comes up where you actually have to be an officer, and you have to, when you actually are confronted with a situation where you can escalate or de-escalate,
your true self comes out.
Yes,
your true self comes out.
Those are the two options.
Not in those very relaxed moments.
Yes,
where
relaxed moments. That's child's play.
That's child's play. And see, the thing is, I have kind of a personal experience with that. Not just an officer being perceived a certain way just because he was involved in some like recreational event that involved the public. Like I have personal experience in regards to an officer, I guess, presenting himself in a certain way to the community, and me having an engagement that contradicted that. I think I talked about on the show a long time ago, and I got confronted by an officer at a gas station. I was putting air in my car. I didn't even see him walk up to the car. I was probably it was like after work. I just got off work. It was probably after 11:30. It was late, but I stopped to put some air in my tire. And the air machine, it was probably like, it was like 100 feet. It's 100 feet away from the main building. 100 feet away from the main building, as far as like, I guess the little whatever, the mart, what is it called? Like the quickie mart or whatever it is, where people go in and pay and get drinks or soda. Convenience store. Yeah. Well, when I drove up, I saw two squad cars. I think both of them were SUVs, but it was like 100 feet away. And so I'm putting air in my tire, right? And I'm on the passenger side. So I can't, I'm blocked. So I'm just nailed down. I can't see over there. Next thing I know, I'm on my back. I'm putting air in my back, my rear tire, my rear right tire. And next thing I know, I see this cop walk up, and he leans over my hood and says, "Turn that down, turn the music down." And so I'm putting air in my tire, and I was like, look up. And I look up and I said, now? You know what I'm saying? I say now because I have limited time on this air. I'm being serious. I wasn't snarky. I said now because I'm putting air in my tire. I'm like, I'm not going to, I can do it later or whatever. I'm fine with that. But and he was like, well, when you leave. No, check this out. Now, this is maybe where my snark comes in. Because when he said, I was like, no, just when you leave. And I'm like, I'll be gone then. You won't hear it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, so if it doesn't make sense. Like, who are you protecting here? It's like a gas station. It's not in the middle of nowhere, but it's not in a residential area either. So who are you protecting here? So anyway, that's why I was like, I'll be gone. So I was like, and then he was like, you know how, somebody doesn't know what to say, and they just kind of look to the side, and he was like, well, just turn it down, like that. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I finished putting air in my tire. Now, I was curious. I was like, maybe my music was loud. I was like, I knew it wasn't. This was probably in, it was probably 2008 or 2009 or even 2010. Right. Probably even later. I had a 2001 Ford Taurus with a factory system. I ain't had no tweeters, or I ain't had no 12s or no 15s in the trunk, you know what I'm saying, with some big ass amp. It was a factory system. And my door wasn't all the way open and my windows weren't all the way down. Like my driver's side window was halfway down and my door was cracked. So I was like, is it really that loud? And it was like you know, the meter was like, goes up to like 12 or something. It was like on like 5 or 6. So I was curious. So I walk over to where they were standing. To see it was loud. I could not hear it. I was like, this motherfucker. He probably just came over.
Yeah.
He saw me get out of the car for whatever reason.
He didn't come there because of the music.
He didn't come there because of the music. He probably his reason. He was probably just like trying. Hopefully, he smelled something,
right?
And trying to create some sort of probable cause or some sort of pretext. And so I was like, this motherfucker. So I walked inside because they were still there. I didn't say anything to him. I walked inside just to get his badge number, which is right on his badge, and his name. And I was just like, I walked up with like, at that time, I don't even think, I think my phone was in the car, so I like had a piece of paper, and I was like, I just walked up. I didn't say anything. And he was like, kind of being snarky, because he knew what I was doing. And he was like, can I help you? I was like, nah, I'm just getting your name, that's all. And I turn around and walk out, right? And then you can tell like him and this other cop were kind of like snicker, like, and like, as I walk away from them, I'm probably about 15 feet away, and then the automatic doors to the convenience store open. As I walk out, he yells out, "That's Sergeant Hobbs!" And I was just like, I didn't even turn around. I was like, like, whatever. So I go online and look him up, because I already know like what department he's in. All right, I look him up. Couldn't find his name because he goes by a different name, like Will and Bill, you know, like Robert and Bob. So I look him up. You know, the first thing that came up, because this relates to the situation with this dancing cop. The first thing that comes up when I look him up when I type his name in Google is him at some sort of community event flipping hot dogs and hamburgers. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, see, that
was not your experience.
That was not my experience. And I know that's not other people's experience, like, as well. Like, I know a lot of people didn't experience what I experienced, and they perceive this officer differently than what I do. Because guess what? He actually came in to where I worked. He didn't know I worked there. He didn't see me. I noticed him, but he didn't notice me, probably because he fucks with so many people every day. He probably don't remember me. But I remember him. He came into where I worked, and I watched him. And I watched him how he talked to some of my employees, right? And they were just like yucking it up. And he was talking about, you know, oh, you played with my dog at that thing. You see what I'm saying? So he was interacting with all those people in a very like positive way. And they were just yucking it up. And I was like, man, they don't know this dude.
That's the way it is, man. Like I said, they got a lot of responsibilities, and one of them is to be like an outreach, like the position that was created for Bernie Sanders. What was it? Outreach. What was it in the DNC?
Oh yeah,
outreach,
in the DNC. That is right.
Director of outreach,
or something like that. Basically, it was some sort of like mascot.
It was a mascot.
It was called a mascot.
But that's what they want to do in the community. Like I said, they want a favorable impression in the community. They want to go out there and yuck it up with people, and like I said, I guess they don't want people to be scared of them, but through their actions, yeah, that's going to be the result. All that barbecue and playing basketball and all that, man, that's not going to last when you see these people assaulting other civilians, man. So anyway, all right, so we're going to go to phone calls now, all right? It's time to get into... Okay, we already got somebody.
Dang, somebody's waiting. I think they were just waiting.
Yeah. All right, so let me put the... Oh, that's not the image. Let me put the image on the screen.
Trying to manifest somebody there.
Yeah, it looks like
Trying to manifest somebody. Hopefully he's watching. If he is, what up, man?
So the number to call in is 669-900-6833. If you have a question or comment, we would love to hear from you.
Welcome back, Jean, by the way. We see you in the chat.
Yeah, we see you in the chat.
We heard you went on vacation. But
she's stateside right now.
Yeah, stateside. Good go, snap. Good to see you back.
Northwest. She's in the Northwest, it looks like.
Tim, where you at?
But stateside. All right, so let's get to this first caller. Where did the window go here? All right.
Well, we do have to play that Swalwell video, though.
Oh, yeah.
We will.
See, we didn't even
We
get to
promise
that.
you we'll play that Swalwell video.
Yeah, because that doesn't take a long time.
That doesn't take a long time, and
that junk is
we
hilarious.
woo.
Can't leave without playing that video. It doesn't take long. Anyway, all right. So the first caller is coming from 617 area code. Caller, you're on the air live with LTMB.
Hey guys, it's Ben. How are you doing?
Good, man. How are you doing?
What up, Ben?
Good. Hey, I first heard of you guys when there was this viral chart going around showing all the progressive hosts. And it was basically rank your favorite progressive hosts. And I saw you guys on there. I checked out the show, and I've been trying to catch it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So thanks for what you do.
Well, appreciate you carving some time out of your day to watch us, man. I don't. That's not easy, man. You know what I'm saying? That's just a couple of hours, man. So appreciate you watching us when there's so many options out there. You know what I'm saying? So appreciate that, man.
Yeah. So I had a couple of comments. I didn't want to get caught up on this one too much, but one thing I wanted to point out was there was a lot of pushing going on in that video where there was that punch thrown. So basically, like afterwards, there were probably like 4 or 5 officers just kind of shoving people on the shoulder. And to me, even that's all right. I mean, you don't have to punch somebody in the face for it to be like crossing the line. Even the mentality you can go up and kind of like push people in the chest, it's just wrong.
Right.
Just wanted to comment on that. Yeah. But the main thing I wanted to talk about was, the debate about Medicare for all, and we're having the presidential debates coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
So you talked about how there's about 20 different people, I guess 20 who are going to be in the debate. And one of the things I really want to call attention to is about the funding sources for what truly is Medicare for all versus a public option, or really any of the sort of what they're kind of just alluding to it as a watered down version of Medicare for all. But the big thing is if you can't pay your premium, if you get sick and you lose your job, or maybe you just lose your job for whatever reason, I mean, you're still going to be having to kick out your life savings to kind of fend for those few months while you're trying to find a new job. If you're sick, maybe you can't work, you're going to not be able to pay those premiums. So the biggest difference between any of the other plans and Senator Sanders' plan is the funding source. With a true Medicare for all, you have the government paying those premiums on a monthly basis, or really just paying for your health care as it comes in. There are no premiums at that point. Any of the other plans that we're hearing about, you even hear progressive commentators like David Paxton saying that some of these other options might be feasible. But unless the government's actually the one doing the paying, if it's coming out of our pockets, we're all at risk, and it really doesn't meet the objective.
Yeah, we kind of we may have talked about that a little bit when discussing Kamala Harris's answer that she gave to, who was it? The dude from MSNBC? What's the guy? Mick O'Donnell?
Was it O'Donnell? Chris O'Donnell?
Chris O'Donnell.
Not Chris O'Donnell.
Not Chris. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know
Ben, you're the guy O'Donnell from MSNBC. Lawrence O'Donnell. Where she kind of had this very interesting answer about working towards a Medicare for all system. But her Medicare for all system kind of still involved the insurance companies and did not account for people who would lose insurance, like if they lost their job. And so that's why I think this issue is important, because we have a lot of Democratic candidates who have come out in support of Medicare for all and are now rebranding Medicare for all as something else.
And this was one of Kamala Harris, and was one of the senators that were co-sponsors of Bernie's bill for Medicare for all. So it'd be one thing if there was like some, I guess, a blurred vision of what Medicare for all is. It wasn't actually, some legislation that was proposed. But there was legislation that was actually proposed by Bernie Sanders. They signed on to it. It was like, they were on the stage with him. And then now they want to be like, oh, well, I'm going to redefine Medicare for all, and it's going to actually kind of look like this, not what Bernie Sanders says it is. We don't believe you. we just don't believe you. Huh?
In Massachusetts, we have Representative Joseph Kennedy III. He's a very well-known, very recognizable guy with red hair.
Right.
And he was one of the people dragging their feet to even sign on to Medicare for All. And at this point, I think it's just kind of like the thing that you have to say. But it's almost like the Trojan horse where they want to kind of say that they're going to do it, but then once they get in, they're actually dragging their feet. The only people fighting for Medicare for All, where if you get sick and lose your job, you're not going to have to worry about it. That's really the only plan I've seen is Senator Sanders. So the only alternative that I could really accept, and there's a caveat to this, is if there was a state-funded single payer. So instead of the federal government doing it, it would be the states who are actually paying it.
Right.
But anytime it's an option to opt in for it and there's still an employer base, that's just really bad. But here's the thing. If we do go with a state-based system, you're going to have a lot of states down where they're doing these, abortion bans and all sorts of anti-social programs, whether it's anti-gay or anti-trans or whatever it is, whatever kind of discrimination. So now we're going to if we're not going to all stand together as a nation and kind of, be sort of self-determinant as a nation, then we're going to have some of these states that are still going to be backwards.
Yeah. And what you're talking about too, I mean, it has happened many times where a state was trying to, maybe I won't say many times, but it has happened before where there was a significant push to get Medicare for All established in the state. One of those states was Colorado. And that was back in 2016, I believe. And the driving force behind killing it was the Democratic Party. They spent all kinds of money to kill it, and they actually did kill it. I know, healthcare is it's probably the issue. It is the issue to why they recaptured the House of Representatives last year. And going forward in 2020 is definitely going to be a hot button issue and something they're going to use to make gains in the Senate as well. But like you said, most of them are not really pushing for what we want to see. Really, it's just a select group of people that are actually doing that, and Bernie Sanders is one of them.
If I could ask you guys, I was kind of new to watching you guys for like the last month or so. Who else do you guys enjoy watching for like when you're trying to check out something cool, like for news-based stuff? Not really like the entertainment side, but kind of like the progressive news. Who you guys respect?
Michael Brooks. I watch Michael Brooks. He is he's an offshoot of Majority Report, which I watch, but Michael Brooks he has a lot of informative guests on his show. Experts that do deep dives into not just domestic stuff but foreign policy. So he gets in depth. It's not like some quick one takes where he's providing some one-offs and just kind of quick catchy commentary on subjects, and that's cool. I like watching Michael Brooks and Sam Cedar. National? You ever heard of him?
He's a Canadian guy, right?
I think he is. Yeah. He's pretty cool. I like watching his show. Damn, who else?
I'll say
I like watching Benjamin Dixon.
I know I don't watch nearly as much as you do. I mean, sometimes on the show even we talk about some. People will give us some names of some shows out there, and I have no idea what they're talking about. So I guess my catalog is not as extensive, but I do watch Michael Brooks, Majority Report. I watch Humanist Report.
Jordan Sheridan.
Kyle, I watch Kyle. I watch the Young Turks as well, and I know a lot of people do not watch the Young Turks, and since 2016 a lot of people feel like they've gone a certain direction. I don't really feel the same way. A lot of the coverage that I see from the Young Turks, I don't watch them. It's not, I guess I wouldn't say it's a constant thing, I'm there for every show, of course not, because we do this, but I do see a lot of clips that they do, and I don't really have that kind of opinion about them, that they're trash or that they can't speak to progressive ideas and ideals. And I don't feel that type of way about him.
What about let's see. I watch Telestar, whatever. Real News Network. I like watching the Empire Files with what's her face, Amy Martin. Yeah, Amy Martin.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean it'll take a long time for me to kind of go down the list, but I just watch a lot of different people, man.
Yeah, I got a regular day job and everything, and I usually pop on David Pakman quite a bit, and the Humanist Report with Mike Figueredo.
Yeah.
But I think it would be cool if you guys maybe start teaming up with some of those guys too, because they all seem to kind of have like a little network. You guys have a great thing going on, so I mean, spreading the love with you guys, and I'll let you get to the next caller, or maybe I'll give you guys a call back over the next month or so and check in once I have a new topic to kind of like go on. Because I mean, for Medicare for All, even just one more thing I'll kind of close on. I have the emotional point for Medicare for All, where it's the ethical thing to do. Healthcare is a human right. Nobody should be denied coverage, and nobody should have to be sick and dying, and we're going to let people die on the street. But let me just say, even just from an economical standpoint, you need everybody in the Medicare system, because if you only have it as an option, only people who are unable to get coverage are going to go into that. It's going to drive up the costs on that plan.
Exactly.
And meanwhile, the private companies are going to get all the healthy young people who really don't need insurance. They're going to get junk coverage. We need a population who's just really going to, soak up with the good and the bad, everyone in it together. So I wish you guys well, and thanks for taking the call. Keep it up.
Appreciate that, Ben, man. Hope you call in soon, all right?
All right, thanks, Mike. Well.
All right.
Take care.
Just what Ben said, and really that was the whole reasoning behind the mandate in the ACA as well, because you had to have an abundance of people, healthy people and sick people in there. You can feel what you want to feel about the ACA, and like I said, we've expressed our feelings about it. It definitely didn't go far enough, but still, you had to have that individual mandate for it to succeed even a little bit. For it to do anything, you had to have the individual mandate. So
it's interesting because, we live in a system that already collects taxes. So we already have accepted that there are certain things that society needs, and we are bought into those things, and we collect the necessary revenue to get those things done.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand why we can't make that same decision to get everybody bought into a Medicare for All type system that will benefit everybody at the end of the day.
All right. And just one more thing on Ben's suggestion about, teaming up with other voices, definitely these voices in the independent community, YouTubers. Us, joining forces, not joining forces, but just, I guess, appearing on some videos, whatever like that. It's not out of the question. It's definitely not out of the question. I know this is both of our takes, because we've had conversations about this. We are very selective.
Is we?
Yeah. We are very selective because it goes back to 2016 and how it felt that everybody was feeling and seeing things the same way. And then what I used to call it?
The bomb cyclone.
The bomb cyclone. I think I said something else, but it was like that. Just like a bomb was set off, and just so many people.
How the hell you came over?
People went different directions, and it's just we see some of these people that we thought were of the same kind of mentality as us. We see them nowadays have a completely kind of different narrative.
They done like turned inside out. I want to say 180, but it's different.
And it's not just having a different narrative too. They
don't even have the same principles.
But it's underhanded. They're trying to be underhanded and slick and slimy and all of this stuff. It's not dropping no names, but
we may talk about that after we finish the calls a little bit. I think Will needs to expand on that. Saying.
Let's go to 857 area code. You're on the air live with LTMB.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on, man? Who's this?
It's Jay.
Jay, what's going on,
man? What's happening, bro?
Good to hear from you.
Man, what's up, man? What you got for
To
us?
call from another number just in case you guys blocked me.
Nah, man, are you crazy, man?
Are you serious? Yo, I'm insulted, dog.
Nah, I'm joking. I'm joking.
insulted.
But I wanted to call to talk about, I don't know if you guys, I missed the first half of the show, but you talked about Bernie's speech.
Yeah.
About being a Democratic Socialist.
You did.
And I haven't seen a lot of people talk about it, but I just wanted to talk about how brilliant that speech was from a strategy standpoint for Bernie's campaign.
Yeah, man, go off.
And let me explain. So we've been seeing polls and we've been seeing like mainstream media really kind of pushing like the Elizabeth Warrens and the Pete Buttigiegs, and their respective campaigns have really been kind of drafting off of Bernie's positions and policies in a lot of ways, right? So, and I don't despise Elizabeth Warren. I don't care for Pete Buttigieg,
Right.
but they are trying to feed off of the energy that Bernie has created within the Democratic base, right? So what Bernie did with that speech is say, I'm a Democratic Socialist. This is my stance. These are my policies. This is where I am. So now for Elizabeth Warren to still try to draft off of Bernie's energy, eventually she's going to hit a roadblock, right? Because she claims that she's a capitalist.
Right.
So eventually what I think is going to happen is a lot of the supporters for Elizabeth Warren, as they start to, because I don't think they have in the past, but when they start to really try to understand the bigger ramifications and the bigger understanding of the policy she's pushing, they're eventually going to come to the fork in the road where they have to recognize that capitalism is a major factor in why we can't have nice things. Does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense, man, because that's
So,
kind of how we were approaching it when we were kind of giving our commentary about his speech, and we kind of approached it that way. I don't even think we used the word strategy, but that's kind of that's a good word to wrap up how we addressed it, because it just seemed as if it was necessary for Bernie Sanders to lay everything out on the line, unlike he did in 2016. We don't think he laid everything out on the line. There's not much different about him today than was 2.5 years ago. There's not really much different.
You could say his message is a lot clearer, though.
His message is a lot clearer. And like you said, that is definitely strategic. And that probably has to do with the people he surrounded himself with as well. But he's kind of the perfect person to deliver that message, the perfect person to kind of talk honestly about capitalism and how much danger it actually poses.
And this is what you're supposed to do in a campaign anyways. You're supposed to differentiate yourself with the other candidates. And especially, like you say, they're mooching off of his message and, everything that Bernie Sanders is, his progressivism is, they're going to continue. And we saw that coming. Everybody saw that coming. When we saw those senators on the stage and they were co-sponsoring Medicare for All, that was the writing on the wall. We knew it was going to extend into campaign time, 2020. We knew that was going to happen. But like you said, this is him pretty much like drawing a line in the sand, saying, like, this is where I'm at right here. Where are you?
And I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm glad you kind of established the rest of the field as somewhat, I don't know, like almost like vampires in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys just said, they're trying to mooch off his policies, but they're too scared to say,
"Oh yeah,
capitalism is the problem." They're too scared to admit that. They don't want to go that far, but they want to just kind of ride the wave.
Remember, Jay?
But he's forcing them to either A, acknowledge the problem, or B, you can't just say all this stuff if you're not really about it. If you're not about that life.
Hey, you remember?
So he's forcing the hand.
You remember Trump's State of the Union address when he disparaged socialism.
Oh yeah.
He pretty much. I forgot what words he used. If you
he said America will never be a
socialist nation. Yeah. You remember who stood up?
And they all stood up. Yeah, they all stood up. Yeah.
You know who? Yeah. Warren stood up and clapped enthusiastically.
Pelosi did too.
Pelosi did,
but
I ain't surprised. We
Warren,
already we're talking about Warren is probably the focus because she's running for president and she is as a progressive, and she stood up and clapped. You know what I'm saying? And to me, if we're going to talk about politicians being out of touch. And I'm with you. I'm not going to sit there and hate on Warren, but to me, that seems like a blind spot right there. You know what I'm saying? And she's always said, I'm a capitalist to the heart. I'm a capitalist to the heart. It just, at heart. And it just seems as if she's always like trying to reel in this capitalism that she loves so much. Because her entire career surrounds what? Trying to hold the big banks accountable. Consumer protection.
I agree, but
and I'm like, you make your job harder. You need to do that because you really don't want to address capitalism.
I'll disagree on you at one point. I don't think it's a blind spot for Elizabeth Warren. I think she knows what she's doing, but it might be a blind spot for voters that like Elizabeth Warren because they really never had to think about it past a certain step. Right? So I know Elizabeth Warren knows what she's doing, but what I think is going to benefit Bernie in the long run is those Elizabeth Warren voters, they're going to have to kind of try to think through these policies a layer deeper, and then they're ultimately going to come to the rationalization that she's not really what she proposes or she pretends to be because she's not willing to make that next step, that logical step. And I think that's going to expose her a little bit. So that's why I think it was a brilliant move by Bernie at this point of the primaries.
Like you said, not just Warren, but it will expose all of them. And anybody that, Gillibrand, she was one of those that co-sponsored Medicare for All, Harris, Booker, Warren, all of these that are really trying to, like you said, mooch off of Bernie Sanders' progressivism and really him making it popular. Because before 2016, before his campaign, nobody got to his level, pushing forth a platform like that. And even he that you said it before on the show, like he wasn't even entirely comfortable in how he defended himself promoting what he was promoting.
I think that's more of a matter of him not being accustomed to having the spotlight and having to explain it. And now he probably has a team together that can kind of help him do that. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
They've been here before.
And see, Jay done messed me up because now, like, I see Buttigieg, it's Buttigieg's name, and I see his face, and I'm going to think Buttigieg. He kept calling him Buttigieg. And now I think of him as Buttigieg.
He's a clown, whatever you want to call him. He's a clown. But that's all I had to say.
All right, man. That's some hot takes, man. I like the commentary. Appreciate it, Jay.
All right, later.
All right, bro.
All right, so we're going to go to 253 area code. You're on the air live with LTMB.
Oh, my God, I'm in. Hey, guys. It's Jordan.
What up,
What's up, Jordan? How you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm good. I just wanted to ask you your opinion on, because I was arguing with lefties earlier today about AOC wanting a raise.
I mean, go ahead.
I thought, well, you talking about the bill in the House that was going to raise the pay?
I mean, that's beyond her control. That's essentially beyond her control. She's like, it's not like she personally introduced that bill. Yeah. That bill is beyond her control. I think
but they shut it down, though.
I thought they shut it down.
I believe they shut it down.
But like, I guess I think people should be more worried about questioning people who are not for, let's say, both things.
Yeah, that's true.
Both things, like raising everyone else's wages and advocating for fair wages across the board. I think the conversation shouldn't even be centered on her.
Yeah.
That's, you know what I'm saying? It's not like she personally introduced this. So whether she's for it or not, to me, is inconsequential, essentially because she is for everyone else's wages being raised, and she advocates for that. We need to talk about those individuals who advocate for their wages being, going up in Congress, and do not advocate for everybody else's. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I see how people can, see some sort of flaw in it, but I don't know where the conversation should start if we're just talking about, it being some kind of hypocritical point. I can't really start the conversation there. I mean, where do you think the conversation should start, Jordan? I mean...
I think that it's fine, to give them a raise for because I don't really care. Like, if, I want them to be comfortable or whatever, I don't want them worrying about that shit, but I want to cut them off from private money.
Exactly. But if you don't see, I mean, and there's an argument to be made here that, I mean, look, we're living in a I guess in a time, in a society, in a world, in a country where, if you don't provide the right amount of funds, yes, you could say that provides an outlet to where they could be more corrupt, right? But even if you do give them a substantial amount of money, more than what they have right now, would that decrease the, you know what I'm saying?
Because it's not really about that. It's more about corporations trying to buy their way in.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. It's not like corporations will stop trying to buy their way in.
No. The likelihood that they would be corrupt is just as likely if they make more money as right now. So I don't think they go hand in hand.
I think that my main thing on it is because I was talking to lefties who were their gut reaction was more money for them, fuck them, blah, 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 and I was just like, they have to travel back and forth between DC, they have to have two places to live, I mean, if they need a little more money, I don't really care about that, she has the right policies, is what I was saying. I feel like it's just vindictive, they just want to punish them.
Like Mike said, though, I totally agree with your assessment, saying that if you're only advocating for Congress to get a pay raise, but you're not actually advocating for the rest of the country to get that pay raise, if you're not advocating for the federal minimum wage to be increased, if you're not advocating for a cost of living pay, then yeah, man, I think that's board. I think that's completely phony, and I don't think anybody can support that. But somebody like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who does advocate for such things, who pays her staff a living wage. Yeah, I don't think this is a situation where I'm, going to criticize her about.
Yeah, man. Speaking of hypocritical, man, I debate with a politician from Washington because he comments on one of the free speech pages that I frequent on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And speaking of hypocritical, he was he likes to virtue signal and shit, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna give half my salary to charity," and I'm like, "Dude, I don't give a shit what you do with your salary. I care about your policy."
True that, man.
Right? I'm like, dude, you're serving corporations. You can go fuck yourself. I don't care what you give to charity.
Yeah, these little individualistic kind of. Or these I don't know to call them individual philanthropic or philanthropy or whatever.
It's the noble approach, right?
Yeah, it's I'm just involving myself in philanthropy. And it's it doesn't really change the system. I'm like Microsoft, Bill Gates is involved in philanthropy. You see all the commercials all the time.
Most of these corporate giants, these CEOs, these rich people, most of them do donate to charity. Exactly. A lot of money to charity.
Doesn't the Clinton Foundation have that's a charity, right?
Yeah, a lot of them do. And what does that mean?
What if Clinton walked up to you and said, "Hey, look at my charity"? Oh, damn it! You know what? Let's delete all of our videos. Shit. Let's go delete all the videos we made.
Since you showed us that, we were wrong about you. All that other information doesn't exist.
Yeah, man, it's just virtue signaling, and it doesn't no systemic change from that. It's just an excuse.
Agreed, man. No doubt.
All right. Well, anyways, everybody join the Discord, and I'll see you next time.
All right, man.
All right, bro.
Appreciate you calling in, Jordan. Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye.
All right. So we don't have any other calls in the queue. So it seems like now would be a good time to show that video.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah. So this is about Representative Eric Swalwell, who is running for president in the Democratic Party 2020. Representative Swalwell was in Iowa. Yes, Iowa this past weekend. And he gave a speech on Sunday at the Iowa Democrats 2019 Hall of Fame. So I'm not sure that I have to set this video up. I guess he was just trying to make his case about how regular he is. I mean, he was trying to say that
it was almost like
Trump is elite. You know, he doesn't know your struggle. I know your struggle. I'm still paying off my college loans.
I'm a regular
guy.
This is the regular guy shtick.
Yes.
I'm just like you.
Yeah.
I come from the same place. Same family values.
Yes. But he's tough.
It's like that milquetoast. It's like it's like I'm from the streets.
Yeah.
But not like gangster. I'm from the streets, but more like, that regular American guy.
Yeah, I walk the same walk as any one of you
Put
do.
my pants on two legs at a time.
Like, Trump can't identify with you. He can't relate to you. I can. So that's his pitch. But we have a clip of this video and where he overestimated the effect of some words that he used. He overestimated them. So without further ado. All right. We're going to have to figure this out first. Looks like we're having some technical difficulties. I don't know if you can hear that sound.
Oh yeah, so like whatever you click on, it's basically
it's acting like there's another window open. You know what I'm saying? And you can't.
Yeah.
I don't understand why this would be happening.
Yeah, you might have to. You go to the task manager.
Yeah, but then see, there's nothing else running. Oh, you know what? 5 windows.
Is the browser on?
Nah. See, it should pop open. It should pop up if there's 5 different windows, but I don't see. Just bear with us real quick. If I can find this window that's open. You see, this is the desktop, but I don't see any other windows. See, there's no other windows. There's got to be a window somewhere. This may not work on this. Hold up. You see, I can still access. I can still put graphics on the screen. It can still work, but I can't select anything.
Yo, this is weird.
This has not happened before.
Never
happened before. It's like I said, it's like a window is open and it's preventing me from selecting this main window, but there is no other window open. There is no other window. I don't even know how we're gonna get out of this to end it. Because I can't even.
Yeah, we can't even click on it.
I can't minimize it. I can't close it. Boy, yo, technology just does not like this program sometimes, man. Really doesn't.
Blame it on the deep state. Just blame it on the deep state.
There's literally not another window. All right.
Might just.
Yeah, see, there's only one window. Yeah, I'm doing that. Alt tab. There's literally one window that is open. And so when I click, I don't know if you can hear that noise, that like boing, boing. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but hold up. Hold up. No. What's this? No, hold on. There might be two windows. What's this and what's that? But see, if I click, what is that?
That is weird. That's like another. It looks like there's like another layer behind that.
It does. All right, I'm gonna click this. If this cuts off, we'll just come back on real quick. There's something. Do you see what the hell is that?
Yeah, I know. I have no clue what that is. Maybe that is. I don't know. Maybe that's nothing. Maybe that's just the.
Because you know what, there are these. Because they both have to run. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, they do hear it. Sharon thought it was her computer. All right, so they do hear it. I have no idea why. Yeah, it's an application. This is the software that we use, Wirecast. And for some reason, it's just locking up. Nothing else on the computer is locking up. We can take calls. I can select anything else. But this application, for some reason, it's not even frozen. Because like I said, I can, see? I can take that image off the screen.
And we actually see ourselves talking.
Yeah. It's not really frozen. It's just preventing me from choosing anything with the mouse. I wonder if I can... Nope, that won't work either. Nope. Yeah, we're gonna have to do this another time. We're gonna. Well, it doesn't get old, so that's a good thing. It doesn't get old, so maybe we'll do this on Tuesday. Show you the video because I have no idea why this application is locked up and how to fix it. And nothing even happened. It was right after we went to the phones because I was able to do that because I had to click this one button so that you could hear our callers. Only thing is if I actually kill it, then that's going to kill the stream. And then it might create a whole nother, like a whole nother broadcast, a whole new stream. And I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it'll break this. Yeah, it'll break it up.
Yeah,
It'll be like two separate videos. And in this case, it's going to be a video. It's probably like 5 minutes long.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on here. Never had this happen before. I don't know. This junk has a madness on sometimes, man. I don't understand. Anyway, we hope that you all enjoyed the stream today, Thursday. Sorry again that we couldn't do 2 shows this week, but that was beyond our control. That was all YouTube. It was all YouTube. I'm not going into depth about what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to name names.
Yeah. Let's just say, man, it's just weird, man. Some of your neighborhood dealers are cutting their product. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm gonna say. Some of your neighborhood dealers
being real shifty, man.
Some of your neighborhood dealers are being real shifty, and some of y'all may watch these people. So we ain't gonna name names.
They're being real underhanded with their product.
Yeah,
they're trying to shape stories so that other people look bad.
And they do it. They're doing a sloppy job.
Sloppy, man. It can be detective with just an ounce of
investigation.
You said investigation.
I know. Oh yeah,
one of them was an investigation.
Investigation was just like,
no, one of them wasn't.
That looked shady immediately.
Yeah,
like immediately. Like I'm like, yeah. You know what? 2 times in like 3 days.
Yeah, man.
From the same platform. I'm just saying, from the same network.
If you follow Mike, on Twitter because Mike, he's the one that.
See why you put it on me though.
Look, I'm with you. I just didn't put it out there in the Twitterverse.
Oh, but see, I didn't put it out there. I just confronted.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Couple
like
of people.
if they're following you, then you can get an idea of what we're talking about here. But we're not gonna like I said, we're not gonna put it on blast on the show. It's just, who's talking about the Warriors? All right, L Train, of course. L Train talking about the Warriors.
Oh no, it's not Jimmy Dore. No.
Nah, it's not.
We think he that's another story. But no, it's not him. It's not him.
Yeah, it's
not him. He doesn't need to because he already big. He already big. He don't need to be underhanded like that. No. We seen a few missteps, but
it was.
We seen some underhand. I would say it's underhanded.
You remember the YouTube thing?
Oh, the YouTube
that
thing.
was a little because that was cut. That was cut.
That was purposely cut.
That was a little underhanded. And then
but see, we can't see the only thing about that one is we know he has producers.
Yeah.
So they could have been,
It's possible.
It's possible.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not him. It's another.
Yeah, man.
Not even.
Yeah, it's just that, man, people just kind of like fell off, man, after Bernie Sanders lost, man.
L-Train, all right, L-Train talking about some sports. I know Game 6 is on right now. Warriors and the Raptors. Warriors at home. KD.
Out.
Ruptured the Achilles. Had the surgery already. I can't imagine the Warriors losing this game.
Nah.
As much hype as
much hype.
I just can't, everything.
And of course,
them,
they're going to be feeding off KD, and KD is actually like he's doing like kind of what a teammate who is injured should do for their team.
Yeah.
Like he is like constantly on social media, in the media, talking about how, hey man, basketball is my first love.
Right.
I don't care if I'm not playing. I love my teammates. I'm pulling for my teammates. He's just like, even when he was injured, he was in the tunnel, like meeting them.
With all his actions and his words, he's telling people, "I'm a warrior, man. This is my team. I'm with them, man. It's not me and the Warriors.
And the Warriors,
it's us."
yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I'm not a KD fan, not a big KD fan, but yeah, I mean, I do acknowledge, like what kind of, integrity he has as a player,
But L-Train also talked about thoughts on the Nets, because, of course, Brooklyn Nets, that's my squad. Cap space for 2 free agents, might get Kyrie. I really have a very short take on this.
I don't think he wants Kyrie.
I don't want Kyrie.
Because he sees what Kyrie did to Boston.
Yeah, I don't want Kyrie.
I don't even got to talk to him. I haven't even talked to him about it.
That's true, we haven't talked about that. No, we haven't. I don't want Kyrie. Kyrie is a phenomenal player. Nobody's taking that away from him. But if you were going to say, and of course, KD is injured now, and we don't know how long, he's going to be injured for the next season. If you were going to say Kyrie and KD come to Brooklyn, I'd be like, cool. I'm down with that because you get KD as well. If you're talking about Kyrie, especially if it's only Kyrie, and let's say you have Kyrie and then you re-sign D'Angelo Russell as well. I don't know how in the world those two will play together. I just don't see that. Kyrie needs the ball in his hands. He's not a Steph Curry that can move around the court. He doesn't circle the court, tries to find an open shot. He's not like a spot up shooter. He is I'm gonna get you a difficult bucket. He can.
He has to have the ball in his hands.
Yeah,
he's ball heavy.
And I think as we see right now, that's not the type of basketball that will really. Well, I don't think that's the type of basketball that has the highest percentage of a chance of getting you a title. I think ball dominant stars. You can win a lot of games with them. You see James Harden, Chris Paul. You see Houston win a lot of games. Winning a title, I just have my doubts on how effective that can be. So Kyrie, I'm not thrilled with that possibility. I really hope it doesn't go down like that. I'd rather re-sign D'Angelo Russell. I'd rather re-sign him. And I'd rather get somebody else, maybe like a Tobias Harris, maybe Jimmy Butler. Yeah, that's what I do, man. Straight up. I don't think it's like a a real thing that KD might come. I don't. I actually think KD's gonna stay.
I think he's staying. I think this whole talk about KD going to New York or somewhere else, I think that's all garbage.
Yeah, I don't buy into that, man. All of this stuff is just pure speculation. Nobody knows what's gonna happen, man. But you know, we'll see. We'll see. But yes, I'm not a fan of Kyrie. Coming to the Nets, man. L Train said, yeah, Kyrie stunted Tatum and Brown's growth for Boston, along with Gordon Hayward. I don't know about the Gordon Hayward. I mean, he was coming back from the injury, so they did kind of slow roll him. There were some games he did look great, like his old self. But too many games, he was just really average.
It's possible
that
player.
Kyrie. It is possible that Kyrie hurt his time on the court. It is possible, and Tatum definitely. He kind of faltered. He didn't play bad this year, but I think judging what he did last season, you thought there was going to be a jump,
a big step up.
You thought there was
based on how the season ended, you were like, oh man.
But that didn't happen.
He's gonna break the hell out.
And then Kyrie in the playoffs this year,
he looked like Uncle Drew. Oh, God. Kyrie looked like was Uncle Drew?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Kyrie looked. He was moving around like he was Greg Odom.
I mean,
he was moving like crazy.
Every game against Milwaukee, I think it was every game except for the first game. I think because Kyrie played well in the first game. Every other game, this dude was shooting like under 40%, like 30-something%, 20-something%. I mean, like it was horrible, man. I'm telling you, that's not the brand of basketball that is gonna win you a championship. So I really hope that all of this noise about him coming to the Nets, I hope that's just what it is. I hope it's just noise. All right. Yes, we really need a tech person for the show. Yes, we do. Unfortunately, it's not in the budget. Unfortunately, it's not in the budget.
I think it would be highly extravagant to even call what we have a budget. You know what I'm saying? That's an extravagant word.
That is an extravagant word for
that's
this.
A funny word.
Yeah, it is extravagant.
Because I mean, it might be the first syllable, like because we can't budge. We can't budge at all.
Yeah, to do things we have to
no
wait.
Budge.
Yeah,
There's no budge in our budget.
To upgrade the show, to do things, we do have to wait an extreme amount of time to have that money kind of build up and so we can actually do something with it. So yeah, look, we're damn grateful. Damn grateful for everybody that believes in us and contributes to the show in the super chat and on patreon.com. Very grateful. Not diminishing that whatsoever. But still, we have to be real in how small of a little setup that we have here. It's very small scale. But we do appreciate everybody that's involved. And definitely we can take this time out to highlight people that contributed to us in the super chat tonight. Gear Randon. Over and over again, Gear Randon, always contributing to the show. Thank you very much. Trudy as well, saying thank you. Thank you for watching, Trudy. And Ben out front. I think Ben probably the one that called in tonight as well. So we appreciate you calling in and contributing to the show. Definitely want to acknowledge our callers. Ben, like I said, Jay, and Jordan as well. Appreciate that. You always add to the quality of this stream, and we thank you for it. If anybody else watching, if you do have a question, comment, if you never have called in before, we would love to hear your voice, love to hear your take on things. If we got time, we'll definitely pick up the phone, let you have a few minutes to talk. I believe that's it. Let's see. Yes, and we have the crew in the chat section highlighting the Discord chat. We tried that out for the first time on Tuesday, just a couple days ago, because the streaming wouldn't work on YouTube. We thought that was the perfect opportunity to try things out on Discord and see how it went, and it went pretty well. I was honestly impressed on how the setup was. We haven't tried the video aspect of it yet. I haven't even had time to look into it yet, but the whole just conversing, how it's really just I'm trying to think of what's the word? A conference type situation.
It's almost, yeah, it's like a conference. Feels like
it's like a conference call.
Feels more like a little social virtual cookout.
Yeah. And it highlights your name when you're talking, so you know who's talking. And like I said, it was a good time. So yeah, if you do want to extend the conversation till after the show, the link is in the chat section. I'm not gonna have time to get on that right now. We gotta hit the road going back to North Carolina. Hopefully this car doesn't get busted up. Last time, my car got laid to rest.
Total.
Yeah. Coming back from North Carolina. But anyway, yeah, if you do want to, like I said, it's a good time there. Got another contributor to the Super Chat, Jay Scott. Said, "Hi, Jimmy Dore, can you please say my name since I paid you?"
Did you do a Super Chat for Jimmy Dore and he didn't say your name, dude?
That's what it sounds like. Yeah. That's what it sounds like, man. All right. Let me see. Anything we got to? Yeah, round table discussion. That's what it's like. Yeah.
What was that? Miss Tree won. Don't say that, man. Don't say that. You know how Americans get, man, when you start talking about World War II. You know what I'm saying? We came and saved the day.
Hell yeah. You take pride in that.
Yeah,
right?
And it was us alone when it was the Americans.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, that's about it. So we'll be back in 5 days. We'll be back. It'll be June 18th on Tuesday, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm sure there will be much to talk about on that show, and it will definitely get to that video on Eric Swalwell because, yeah, we could all use a good laugh. And then we'll also get to Ayanna Presley. Yeah, we'll get to Ayanna Presley, Representative Presley, speaking in Congress to a member of the FBI. Can't remember exactly what his position was, but it was referencing black identity extremists, and if that, I guess that that categorization is still being used, and blah, 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 whatever. We'll get to that as well. But yeah, we appreciate you being here. We appreciate the calls. Appreciate everybody that supports us. And everybody, take care. Have a good night. See you in a few days. All right. Peace out. So usually we put on some music. Sorry,
but that requires us to click on.
Yes,
the software,
to actually click on
application.
The screen. We would put on some outgoing music, kind of flow it out, but can't do that. So this is going to be an abrupt ending at some point when we close the app.
Yeah, it's just going to end.
Yeah, sorry about that. Have no idea what's going on here, but that's what happens, man. That's what happens, man. You ever seen that clip, Brian in the Family Guy when he's beating up the dog?
When he's beating up, yeah.
That's what. No. The dog was no. Yeah, Brian was Brian was getting beat up. That's the dog. Yeah, the baby was beating up Brian. Yeah. All right. Anyway, everybody, sing. Nah. Oh, Gene wants Mike to sing to us.
No, Gene wants Mike to sing to her.
X4 said, "I demand singing." You can demand all you want, man. We ain't breaking. I don't think we have we. Nah. Well, we did the whole what was that with the Hillary thing?
Oh, we did it. Oh,
yeah, my fault. Yeah,
it's like when she was like.
That wasn't singing.
That wasn't singing. When she was kind of going on her. I ain't do nothing.
I ain't do nothing.
Didn't do nothing.
Not my fault.
Me.
Yeah, that tour.
Did we? I think one time we did do the. We did the Cheers theme. I can't remember. Did we do that for Ben? We did that for Ben Shapiro. It was during the government shutdown.
Why?
And that he had a tweet that was like something like it's not really about the government being shut down. It's about the friends we met along the way. We were like, what? I was like, what? I can't remember the exact tweet, but he basically said,
yeah.
like, and there's something like, it's not really about a government shutdown. He's basically trying to downplay. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's like, it's about the friends you met along the way. I was like, so we sung him the Cheers theme song.
That was funny. But no, we're not singing. So, sorry to, disappoint you people, but I'm definitely not singing. You get some alcohol in me, I'll sing. Last time I was in North Carolina, I was singing. I had some drinks in me.
I'm about to say, I was like, you had some drinks in
I
me.
had some drinks in me, though. Yeah, I was. And then, because when you put the drinks on, right, and then you put, like, the old school music on, you living back your experiences and stuff, you like,
Oh, so you had an old man moment.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you got an old man moment.
Man. We getting up there, man. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, everybody, peace out. This is going to end very abruptly, but we, can't do nothing about it. So we will see everybody next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right? Peace out.